Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Circuit de Catalunya. We've had the Open Series, we've had Formula Challenge, and now we are back once again with the 2015 Supercup season. This 4.6 kilometre circuit has provided some of the closest racing we have seen season so far, and yes, we know we're only 3 rounds in, but it's always great to see when the top 20 drivers are within a second of each other. My name is James Kirk, and alongside me once again to view what will hopefully be some fantastic action is Mr. Sam Jones. And I must say, we're expecting the likes of the Bahrain International Circuit to keep people close together because it's a majority of straights, but the Circuit de Catalunya, or the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya, sorry, is a very, very difficult circuit. Plenty of corners to get wrong. Yes, there's the odd straight, but they're not long themselves. And yet everyone is so close together, it's astounding.
Yeah, good afternoon everyone, or good evening now, it's gone dark. Yes, good evening everyone, good evening James. And this track is, it's a bit of a strange one for me, I find, because it's certainly not a technical track in terms of tight, twisty corners. It's very long, winding corners that you have to put the foot down and then kind of wait and wait and wait to get on the power fully and really get going. And I think it is a track that you either love it, drive it and set lap times, or just hate it. And it might not be the best track for racing, at least in real life anyway, but it is proven to be one that is making quite a competitive field here today. As you were saying, with drivers so close. Currently we have the top 16 all within a second. And we're still only in the very early parts of qualifying now. We've still got some big names yet to even set a lap time. And even set a decent lap time. Look at Kevin Siggy right down there at the moment. So I think the times are only going to get closer as this qualifying session goes on. And that could prove to be, that we could be in for a very interesting race as well.
Yeah, I must say I am firmly in the second camp there, Sam, of I absolutely detest this track. It doesn't suit my driving style at all, and I must say actually, as a point, yesterday, though my qualifying setup was good, in the race it was awful, and it's just one of those tracks where it screams you need downforce on this track, yet you still do need to be able to have the top speed to be able to catch up and overtake people in front of you. So very tricky circuit. You either love it or you hate it. It is a Marmite track. But tell you, someone who is loving it at the moment is Tom Parker up there on provisional pole position for Simcraft Racing. If he does take pole today, that'd be his second of the year after taking pole position in Australia. Behind him is Emmanuel Gachella, and that's an interesting pairing up there because the two of them were actually fighting at the front of race 2 last year, and they were on an alternative strategy, and tyre strategy is going to be a very big thing here today, Sam. Because I have heard murmurs that some people will definitely have to 1-stop in race 2, but we might even potentially see a 2-stop in race 1. Unless you've set up your tyres very well for this circuit, it eats them up in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, James. Just hearing about guys in qualifying doing 1, maybe 2 laps of qualifying standard laps. Okay, so you're going to be pushing a little bit harder, really going for it and abusing the tyres, but they're losing so much percentage on these soft tyres that I can't see anyone being able to run the softs for the entirety of race 2.
Oh, that's no way going to happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
and so
there were 2 strategies last year. One which Parker and Gachella utilised, that's the word I was looking for, where they did option. They stopped about halfway through the race, and I tell you what, it did yield them good results. Parker got 3rd, Gachella got 4th, but the only reason that they actually got those results in the end was because they battled so much in the first stint. Myself and Lewis McGlade, who commentated on last year, we reckon if they had just worked together, they would have won the race, but regardless, that was not the race-winning strategy. It was ultimately Ascari Canton in race 2 who won on a prime run, but the tyres are different for this year, and I must say, if you can run the entire race on a prime tyre, you'd be doing pretty well. 38 laps, by the way, is race 1, 22 race 2, so not exactly short races either.
no, certainly not. You get a lot of laps out of a track like this. It's not the longest track in the world, but it's not the quickest one either. You've got so many long corners where you you are just holding the car off throttle effectively, or very low throttle. So yeah, lap times in the 122s we're seeing mainly 123s though for the majority of the drivers. And we actually are only one car shy of a full grid so far today, so that's another strong point to see for
Who's
Supercup.
missing? TSA. TSA's missing. We've got Rob Mason in here. And I believe it was Scott Beresford who was set to deputise, but not here yet for whatever reason. But it'd be nice to see a full... I don't think we've had a full grid so far, have we? For one reason or another.
Probably not, but we've always been there or thereabouts this season. It's good to see, you know, one car shy is not bad. It's not bad at all. I'm just looking down the team speak list. I can't see anything in terms of another driver suddenly appearing for TSA, so we might have to just stick with the 29 out of 30 today, but that still leaves us with plenty of cars for plenty of action, as Tom Parker still leads the time sheets, the only guy into the 22s so far.
Yeah, 5.5 minutes to go. It's Parker from Malim. That's a very strong effort from the Portuguese driver, who had a disappointing round 2, as we said, and actually has got a 10th-place grid penalty going into this event, along with Matt Richard and Mark Fuller, though I don't think that's going to be affect Mark too much, as he's currently plumb last of the 29. But hey, someone's just gone to pole position, and that man is Emmanuel Gashella, a 1:22.8. Now, we were looking at Gashella last year, and he seems to have really gotten to grips with his car. Whereas last year he was trying to mould his style to the car, this year he is riding the car as it is meant to be. And that is almost a full 0.2 faster than Parker, and would signal his first ever pole position. Gashella's yet to get a podium in Super Cup so far. In one and a quarter years of asking, today might be the day. He's looking very good out there.
Yeah, still very, very early days yet. We are still in qualifying, and Gashella has been known to implode in the race. Whether it's his fault or not, it's sometimes just bad luck. But yeah, that's a great job by him, and I think he's really going to be buoyed by what was quite a strong race 1 in Bahrain. I think I've got that right because I've got my race 1 and race 2 switched around on the standings board. I'm not quite sure why.
That's an odd one. Look at the wiki.
Yeah, that's a good shout, I might do that. But yeah, he had a good strong race 1 in Bahrain. Really kind of held his own in the top 10 for the whole race effectively, and was batting up the leaders at one point when we had that huge caterpillar-like train. But yeah, I think Gashella, he's certainly looked stronger this year than he did look in the second half of last year at least. So it'd be good to see hopefully another strong performance for him again today.
Right, so it's Gashella, Parker, Malim. Why does it change every time I go through? Ruud Easterbeek now goes into second, 300ths behind Gashella. So Ruud continuing his good form from Bahrain, a second and a first, launching him up the drivers' table, I should say, and indeed launching Walk all the way up there as well. So Malim is now fourth, Capit fifth, De Vries sixth, Dennis Jordan with a very impressive qualifying so far for Smile Power Racing in seventh, Jonathan Holmes eighth, as Sven De Vries has actually just gone over Capit into fifth, Francic ninth, and then Andrew Waring, who is deputising for Christopher Lichtenstein this round, up there in 10th for Fox Racing. And I tell you what, Fox will be absolutely loving that, because they've had a couple of small scores from Verzile so far this year, nothing from Lichtenstein, and if they can get some top 10s from today, I think they'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, it really has been two completely different drivers for Fox. You can quite clearly see that Verjard's done the job, been consistent for most of the races for the team, but Lichtenstein just hasn't really been able to get it together. So this is a big day for Fox. It could be some big points, but then at the same time, you look at Pedro Melim and Mazurik, who are just ahead at, well, about double the points of Fox in the championship. And he's up there in fourth. Yes, he's going to drop back down, but surely he's going to have the pace to start to come through the field.
I can see the Waring's just spun, unfortunately, and he's got to be careful as well. Got to be careful whenever you rejoin the track. But so far, we've got 2 minutes to go. Gashella in the garage. I think he said, not going faster than that, and he's had enough. Ruud Easterbeek's just going to go out for maybe 1 or 2 more laps. Parker still up there, Malim, De Vries, Capit, Jordan, Holmes, Francic, Waring also going around. I see Nico Barkley there, has just jumped up into 14th. We will go through all the new drivers because there are quite a few names here today. But who is... I'm worried about ST, Mark. I mean, I think we haven't really brought it up too much because ST hasn't had anything much to say apart from Fuller crashing into the back of Wernerson last round. But look at that. Calvin Hermsey, a 126.1. Fuller, a 126.8. I was worried about them coming into the season when they announced that lineup, and they are not doing anything like settling my nerves, because as far as I can see, unless they change drivers or unless one of them finds a real big upturn in form, they simply aren't going to be scoring points this season.
It's quite appalling pace, actually. I can't put any lighter than that. I'm sorry to them, but it's just not really good enough. Be that far off the pace, considering that the top 25 are all within 1.5 seconds of each other. Yes, you then have a gap to Rob Mason. Maybe he's not having the best of days today. Maybe he hasn't done any practice. But then those two, the ST boys, down there stone last effectively, because David Yunt now goes and sets the time. So yeah, 28th and 29th for the two ST Racing boys. And they're one of only 2 teams that haven't scored a point so far this season as well. So it's not a good start to the season for them. I don't know if they're going to have to change drivers or what. I'm not sure what they're going to have to do.
Just saying, I've just looked at the 107% rule. 107% would be a 128.6, so they are well within 107%, but as you say, considering how close the rest of the field is, doesn't really put much light on it. Anyway, qualifying has ended. The laps still keep on being pumped around though. Perhaps we can look to Gesheller's closest challenger in Ruud Heasterbeek for Walk Racing. He's currently going round turn 5 at Sayat now. We shall keep an eye on the rest of the top 10 just in case anybody does jump up. I see actually Risto Capit has jumped ahead of Sven de Vries once again to head to 5th. But Ruud Heasterbeek is the closest challenger, and if anyone is on the charge at the moment as well, we clips the exit of Campasa there quite badly. But if anyone is looking to continue a charge in this field, it will be Ruud. As I say, when he's lost it. Ruud does not set a good time at all. Park gone, Malim gone. But yeah, Heasterbeek, he'll want more podiums because a second and a first from last round, very, very good. I see Capit pitting, De Vries is gone, Jordan's gone, Holmes has gone, Francic is still going. Oh no, he must have finished. So, first pole position in his Supercup career, Emmanuel Gescheller. He's been looking stronger at the start of the season in comparison to last year. And what a way to solidify your pace. 300s faster than Heasterbeek, and Parker rounds out the top 3 as all. Someone's jumped up there. It's Kevin Siggy with a last-ditch effort into P7 there for Positive Sim Racing. So that means that Jordan's 8th, Holmes is 9th, and Waring does not get that top 10. Instead, it goes to David Francic.
Yeah, congratulations nonetheless to Gescheller. Really, really, really happy for him right now. He didn't even bother going out for the last few minutes. He pretty much set the ultimate pace of qualifying there. I don't think anyone would have really improved ahead of him unless they did a perfect lap. I think that's what was required. I think that Gescheller knew that as well. And fair enough, he stayed in the pits, and that gives him pole position. And Ruud Heasterbeek, he certainly is a man on a roll in second place, and he could be potential for the championship right now if he can continue on this run of form.
Still got to make it to the end. I am going to check here. The last ever pole position Emmanuel Gescheller got was at GPVWC, it must be said, was the Challenge United States Grand Prix at Indianapolis in 2013. And that was held on the 10th of December 2013. So it's effectively been a long 1.5 year wait to get another pole position for Emmanuel Gescheller, but he has got it.
Was that oval or the road course?
Road course.
Okay.
But it doesn't have the stupid chicane at the end.
Fair enough. Or the IndyCar track?
Yes, pretty much.
Yes.
Well, no, the IndyCar track has
that not the
now.
IndyCar track, I mean. Yeah.
The old Formula 1.
The F1 track, yeah.
But yeah, he makes it. He makes that our third different pole sitter, I should say, in 3 rounds. But it must be said as well, something that hasn't been picked up on, we've had 4 different winners in 4 different races as well. Cont, De Vries, Van der Voort, Heasterbeek. Gescheller will be trying to make that 5 in a row. Just to go through the top 10 in each of the tables, De Vries leads on 77. He's there in the top 10 once again. Though he has finished on the podium in every race so far this season, this might be the race where, or this might be the round where that streak ends. Jason Muscat, his championship rival once again, is then on 66 with Van der Voort on 55. Heasterbeek's 45 with Clont on 43. Holmes is there in 6 on 38 with Yunt on 33. Siggy on 32. Cullen on 24. He always seems to have strong race ones, Cullen, then finds trouble somewhere along the road in race 2. And Tom Parker rounds out the top 10 on 19. And in the Teams Championship, we'll go through the top 5 here. Satellite on 120, miles clear of Simcraft on 74, Multiforce on 69, Walk on 57, and Wouters Automotive on 44. But it must be said, I think Walk definitely has had a bit of a stutter. They had a non-score in Australia, but you look at the pace that Capit and Heasterbeek have shown at Bahrain, and indeed here once again, I can see them challenging for the title, but they need to get their act together because De Vries and Clont is still a very good lineup, and they're proving why, because they're about 50 points clear of the rest of the field.
Yeah, but once again, Clont has not had the best of qualifying sessions. He's down in 17th place for Satellite Racing, so it's kind of all up to De Vries at the moment, and even he's down in 6th. It's done at the front, and he tends to go better in race.
Just forgot, Melim's got a 10-place grid penalty, doesn't he?
Yeah, yes,
so Waring will be P10, Melim will be down in 14th, but Cappy will be 4th then. So a walk 2-4.
Yeah. I think, sorry, that Melim's the only guy that's going to be serving a grid penalty today. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, with Fuller. I don't know. Actually,
effectively.
I don't know how this is going to go for Fuller because he's not losing any positions.
Because he qualified.
Because he qualified last anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll start from the pit lane or something. I don't know. But anyway, let's go over some of the new boys, shall we, today? Because we do have a few of them. Let's see. Rob Mason was with us a couple of rounds ago, I believe. But we welcome Sandeep Choda into the Supercup field for the first time this year. He's driving as reserve to Multiforce. He seems to be reserved for everyone these days, doesn't he? We also welcome Bence Zupanek, who actually won the second race of Formula Challenge last night. He qualified 18th for Multiforce. We also have Nico Barkley, who is now full-time Twitch Enterprise GP driver. He qualified 15th. And, of course, we've got Andrew Waring, who will start in P10. So, nice showings from all the drivers to get themselves in the top 20, apart from Choda, of course, unfortunately. But another thing which is different to last night, I should say, is that we won't have any rain tonight. And rain was quite a big factor in the races yesterday, as we certainly found out, Sam.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my first race was kind of ruined because I forgot to go out onto the grid at the start after the race.
I saw that.
Yes, that was my first race over. But yeah, it rained, but it didn't rain hard enough. So we only got to about 12 or 13%.
It was nasty, wasn't it? It was like nasty to control on the option tyres, but not bad enough for wets.
Yeah, it was at that time where you were like, I really need some intermediates right now. But of course, the Formula Challenge Series, much like the Supercup Series, don't have a set of intermediates. You've either got dries or wets, so you have to go for one or the other. And it is pretty much a cliff point where it just becomes better to go on the wets. But until you get to that point, you've got incredible amounts of understeer with the wet when the track is still too dry, and you'll just be suffering because your car will stay on the road as long as you've got the wheel to actually turn it. You literally have to become a truck driver. So yeah, I don't know if it's the same with Supercup as it is with Formula Challenge, but 20% wetness would be the time to switch over. Yeah, it's correct. That's good. I'm glad I've got something right. And at the moment, I can't see any of that happening. It's such a nice day here today in Catalonia, and that's going to give us some perfect racing.
Yeah, it must be said, actually, Super League. I think there's a lot of people confused about where the intermediate tyres filter into Super League. Super League intermediate tyres are effectively the wet tyres that the rest of the career ladder get, with wet tyres very much being torrential weather stuff. So that's why we don't have intermediates. It's simply that there's no reason to have intermediates.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
So anyway, we move to the grid now, and we're having a look at the top 10 there, all the point scorers as they are. Who do you reckon is going to be in that first place by the end of the race, Sam?
Oh, it's a hard one. It really is, because it is incredibly tight today, and I'm really not sure what the racing is going to be like here. I don't know if it's going to be a boring procession or if it's going to be as exciting as it has been in the first 2 rounds of the season. But as the car's just about to get underway for the formation lap now, I'd probably have to say that Ruud Heesterbeek is going to be my man for today in race 1, because he is on such a high at the moment after an incredible display in both race 1 and race 2, where he picked up his first win, Walk Racing's first win of the season, his first race win of the season in Supercup. And I just think he's going to keep on going, and he'll get another win here this afternoon.
I do concur. Stopping him, though, or attempting to stop him, I should say, is Emmanuel Geschella for Storm Racing. He is then followed by Ruud Heesterbeek for Walk. Tom Parker's third for Simcraft, with Risto Capit fourth for Walk. Sven de Vries, our championship leader, is fifth for Satellite, with Kevin Siggy P6 for Positive. Dennis Jordan, a very impressive qualifying for him, starts with Smart Power Racing in seventh, with Jonathan Holmes P8 for Twitch Enterprise GP. David Francis starts P9 for Wouters Automotive, and rounding out the top 10 is reserve driver for Fox, Andrew Waring. Tom Vandervoort, a disappointing qualifying for him. P11 for Simcraft, with Marisol Rauter starting P12 for Smile. Philip Cullen starts P13 for PB, with Pedro Melim after a 10-place grid penalty starting P14 for Mazurek. Nico Barkley, new boy for Twitch Enterprise GP, starts P15 with Christoph Schur, P16 for Mazurek. Menno Klont, disappointing once again from him, starts 17th for Satellite, with Benton Superneck, another reserve for Multiforce, starting P18. Danny Asbury starts P19 for Street Fighter, and rounding out the top 20 is Roy Verzile for Fox. Adrian McNaughton starts P21st for Storm Racing, with Dowie Tapper P22 for Street Fighter, disappointing again from him. Sandy Michoda on the Prime tyre, interestingly, starts P23 for Multiforce, with Luis Mesa P24 for Positive. We then have Bannon Hammer, P25 on the Prime tyre for PB, with David Junt, P26 for Wouters Automotive, also on the Prime. Rob Mason is P27 on the options for TSA, and then the two STs of Calvin Hermsey and Mark Fuller both start on the Prime tyre, interestingly, so perhaps that's why they were so far off. They were going for an alternate strategy. Nevertheless, they do round out our grid here today of 29 drivers. We're missing one TSA from the field.
Yeah, all the drivers are lining up now. Nearly got all of them on the grid, so I can't wait for this. I think turn 1 and turn 2 are going to be very exciting, and then it's all going to calm down by turn 3, and that's when we'll really see who can take the lead and try and win this race.
We have 3, 4 and 5 lights here at the Circuit de Catalunya-Barcelona, and we are away.
Oh, no.
Michelle Rawful off the line. He has lost it already. And Tom Parker, who's had an excellent launch, could be looking at the race lead here. Gashella down to 6, is he down to 7? Potentially, as we head down to turn 1 now. Tom Parker leads, great launch from him. He's to be third, De Vries also with a good start. Capit fourth, Siggy, great launch from him, he's up into 5th. Gashella all the way down to 6th with Vandervoort, another good start from him. 3-7, Holmes 8th, Francis 9th, Jordan all the way down to 10th, though we're still messing around to as Gashella gets back through on all. Kevin Siggy, though, it all goes wrong. There's contact in behind as well between Vandervoort and Holmes, I think that was. As we then into turn 5. Oh, Vandervoort! Clashes into Gashella. Thankfully, both of them don't go round. In fact, both of them stay in the same place. Very lucky, if you ask me, though. Everyone trying to file their way around us. Oh, who is that? Is that Danny Asbury up to P11? Great start from Asbury. Goodness me. Up from P17, the American is. Melim up to 13th, wearing down to 11th there. Roy Verzile up to 15th as well, and everyone trying to filter through turn 10 there. Very, very dodgy in these opening laps as I see Siggy going wide there. Vandervoort going up the inside of Gashella. He's all over the Romanian so far, but looking back up at the front here, I see Sven de Vries going around the outside of Ruud Heesterbeek at Europe car. What a move that was. Going back up to the front, but rounding the final corner, Tom Parker does lead, though just about. It looks like we are going to be in for a good race of exciting action here. De Vries follows him, as does Heesterbeek, Capit, Siggy, Gashella, Vandervoort, Holmes, Francis and Jordan rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, an absolute disaster for Satellite Racing at the start of this race, because Menno Klont has got a puncture. He had contact with, it looked like it was Schroer of Mazurek Racing at the start going into turn 4, and that's effectively the end of his race because he's so far back now.
Going back up to the front, the top 5, or top 4 I should say, are all separated by a second. It's actually just gone to the top 3 now. as Parker, De Vries and Heesbeek look to pull away. The Capit is not too far behind. Look at that walk, looking so consistent. But it's not been their racing on track which has been the issue, more their communication in the pits, which has cost them not once but twice in race 1. Siggy there with a great launch, he's up to P5. Geschella, what an awful launch he had, but the crucial thing is he is still there in the top 6. He still has a chance to make an impact on this race. Everyone else holding it in behind nicely as Malim goes for a dive through into P12. Zupanek as well, he's had a good start. He's now into P13 ahead of Rauter, and then we have Verzile in P15, and then we have a little bit of a gap back to the likes of Tapper Barkley and McNaughton for the non-point scorers. Remember, we have a top 6 to 10 reverse grid in race 2 as well. So position does count if you can get into the top 10, but Parker still leads. His gap to De Vries holds at 3/10, so the American is looking hungry for another race win as Andrew Waring unfortunately becomes our first retirement of the day along with Rob Mason.
Oh, look at that. Tom Vandervoort just sneaks it up the inside of Emmanuel Gakshela going into turn 1, but they're going to be side by side through turn 3, and Gakshela has got it back again. So Vandervoort's going to have to hold station in 7th now, right on Gakshela's gearbox. And here comes Holmes, taking a little look. Oh, and there's contact as Gakshela's gone wide into 4, and Vandervoort's through up into 6th place now.
Good battling here as always. Goes Francis around the outside of Holmes. That'd be pretty optimistic. Lovely move from Francis, but he now finds himself slightly boxing. No, great move from Francis. He's up to 8th, and it just shows, you know, these are basically the primary positions for the reverse grid. It was a nice move from Vandervoort overall. A little bit of contact to be expected though on such a close racing track, but look at Francis and Holmes now. It seems to me that Gashela is doing anything but making an impact on this race. If anything, he's going backwards.
Yeah, he's not had a good start, and he's not got up to pace really. Certainly got the qualifying pace, but perhaps not the race pace. I don't know, he might be looking after his tyres, because he can be a little bit heavy. But the top 2 are still separated by about 0.3 of a second, and Heesbeek is right there with Parker and De Vries as they come on to complete yet another lap here. The laps are going away quite quickly, and De Vries has got a bit of a run on Parker, but he's going way too far back, isn't he? He's not even going to be able to have a look. As we look back at Frančić, who's right in the gearbox of Excella, he's going to look up the inside. Excella shuts the door completely.
I think that was a bit opportunistic from Francis, to be honest, but yeah, he's leaving Holmes for dead, isn't he, now in P9. Jordan sort of with Holmes in P10 there. Asbury all on his own in P11. Props to the American. Great job from him so far. There's Malim, Zupanek and Verzile in this sort of lower points battle. Dawe Tapper then 16th, catching onto the back, and then it goes back to Barclay in 17th to find any other driver who's sort of in with a contention of points. But it's very much like race 2 from Formula Challenge last night, isn't it? You've got the top few drivers very, very close together, and now Heesbeek and the top 3 very much pulling away from Capit. But do remember, tyre wear and pit stop strategy is going to be a huge part to today's race, as I see Gashela and Vandervoort going to battle once again through turn 10. Vandervoort comes out on top, Francis very close behind. But yeah, if people have to do 2 stops here today, none can do 1 stop, then considering how close the field is, because look at that, the top 19 drivers are still pretty much within 10 seconds of the leader, it can mean you lose a lot of positions.
Yeah, it's certainly going to spread out more and more as people battle away. And looking now at Sven De Vries, he's getting closer to Tom Parker. I don't think he'll make a move into turn 1. He has actually gone up the inside, so they're going to go side by side through 1. Parker's going to have the inside for 2, and he holds on. And look at that, De Vries tries a little bit of a switchback, but there's no way around getting into turn 3, so De Vries just has to hold station for a little bit longer. He is right on the back of Parker though, so he got a bit of a draft, so they must be running fairly similar downforce settings, but De Vries just looks like the quicker guy at the moment.
Say that, but he hasn't got past Parker yet, has he? I mean, Parker knows he's there, but it seems to me that De Vries, as per usual, is running perhaps a little bit more wing than the guys around him, and that will no doubt help his tyre wear, and no doubt mean that his car is easier to drive. As I found out yesterday, does not mean that you're going to be fast in the race, and though he is clearly fast in the race, he's not looking really to overtake Parker at this point in time. And then have Cap in 4th, Siggy 5th, Vandervoort, Scheller, Frančić and Holmes, and pretty much Jordan as well, with Asbury catching onto the back in a massive train for the 6 to 10 reverse grid here. But let's look back to the leads now. I mean, let's have a look and see whether De Vries can get anything on Parker. If anything, looks like he's going to be having a look at De Vries now.
Yeah, I think this will really show us who's got less wing running on their car. And yep, Heasterbeek is certainly closing in on the back of De Vries right now for second position. But then he just kind of hits the limiter, and he's got no chance of even getting alongside De Vries. He hit the limiter well early down the straight, and that's his charge over for a point in time.
Let's go back to Gisela, shall we, who has kind of lost Van der Vaart, really, and seems under more pressure from Francic and Holmes than anyone else. Francic is immediate next customer here in P8, looking for his best finish of the year with Walters Automotive so far. He's been a bit disappointing this season, but don't get us wrong, he is a very good driver. That said, he's also a very aggressive driver. We know Gisela, though he's moulded his style to the Supercup car this year, is a very aggressive driver himself, so there could yet be fireworks from this grid as the race boils on. We're on lap 6 of 38 here, so still plenty of time left for people to make mistakes.
Yeah, there certainly is, and the leads are really starting to bunch up again as well now. As just quickly say that Dennis Jordan is doing a good job so far in the 10th position. He has yet to get a top 10 so far this season. He has got some points on the board though, so good job by him so far. We'll see how he gets on, as Parker just gets a little bit of a gap now between himself and De Vries coming out the final corner, so he'll be comfortable down the straight. De Vries gonna have to look in his rearview mirrors.
Yeah, I think Heasterbeek's got him here potentially. If he breaks late enough, the Dutchman goes for it. No, he doesn't. Pulls back in. That's very strange, isn't it? It's almost like he doesn't want to go for it.
Well, you could just see it right at the end of the straight there. De Vries is still picking up a bit of a draft from Parker in front, and Heasterbeek had already hit the limiter, and that was it. You know, the gap, well, the distance between the two started to pull out a little bit more. He still had about a wheel up the inside of De Vries, but not enough, and that's really going to be Heasterbeek's faulting point today. He's going to have to hope, perhaps, for a mistake from De Vries ahead of him to try and get past, because he doesn't look like he's got the straight line speed.
Oh, indeed. I must say, the guy who I've been most impressed with so far, Danny Asbury, he really does look confident, doesn't he? He scored Street Fighter's second bunch of points in Bahrain, and he is really against the likes of Zupanek and Melim. He is really holding his own. Sorry, I think Van der Vaart and Gisela went into battle once again. Let's have a little look at what happened there. I think Gisela went for a bit of a dive. Yeah, he tried to go on the inside of turn 10 and just outbroke himself, unfortunately. So Gisela is still there, and I think Van der Vaart perhaps starting to lose the tyres. Can he really be losing the tyres this early? I mean, if there is a two-stop planned, then you'd imagine that the options won't be lasting long around this track.
Yeah, and I think if it's a two-stop planned, it's going to be Van der Vaart that's going to be taking it, because he's notorious for not being the best on his tyres so far this season.
Around the outside, sorry, in turn 1. Well, there's a statement. Look how much Van der Vaart is struggling. Look, he had to cut across the nose of Francic there.
And, sorry, De Vries is all over the back of Parker as well. He's stuck at the inside of 4. Parker looks like he's starting to struggle as well. It's really not happening for the Simcraft drivers right now.
De Vries slamming on the brakes there. I mean, could it even be that Simcraft might have to go for an option prime strategy in race 2? I mean, I can't believe it'd be this bad. They've only done 8 laps.
Yeah, I mean, they must know when they're going to pit, and they must be thinking, we've got to eke these tyres out, because we've got to run the rest of the race on one set of tyres.
Oh, up the inside he goes.
Oh, there's contact.
Oh, that is such a shame. It's a walk 1-2. De Vries rejoins behind Parker. It was just an innocent mistake. But, I tell you what, De Vries has had his problems with Parker. Parker looks to have heavy damage from that. But, wrong place, wrong time. And walk racing, 1-2. Kevin Sickie now third. Parker with that damage going on in P4. De Vries undoubtedly damaged himself, P5. And Gisela for Van der Vaart, Francic, and where's Holmes gone? Holmes down to 15th. What on earth happened to him? Oh, he spun as well, I see. Into turn. Oh, yeah, went up the inside of Francic, and Francic just, he cut across him nastily, actually. So, poor laps for Holmes. Not Sickie, sorry. Parker and De Vries there as turn 11 and turn 10 become danger zones almost.
Oh, look at this. The Francic up the inside of Van der Vaart, and there's huge amounts of contact between the two in turn 4. Francic out of nowhere just barrels it up the inside. And yeah, wow, contact between the two. Luckily, Van der Vaart's been able to carry on, and he hasn't hopefully not received too much damage from that. But yeah, Francis is really looking feisty at the moment. Van der Voort is definitely not on the pace with these tyres.
De Vries looking on the outside of Parker now into turn 10 here once again. Can he get the move done? No, he doesn't. Parker defends nicely, and it seems that Parker, despite the damage, is able to hold on to the back of Siggy actually. Oh, this is fascinating where this is all going to stem out, because I know there are some drivers out there in the field who can one-stop, and it seems evident to me that there are going to be some drivers who may be forced into a two-stop. And it's just, what sort of order are we going to get at the end of this race?
Who knows? It could be any order. That's the beauty of a race.
Sorry to go on to P9 and P10. Ben Supernek is his debut here in Supercup and Motorsports, but he's going to look to make an impression. Tries to look around the outside, Dennis Jordan, not happening for him though. But shout out to Bence there, doing a nice job for Motorsports, and up the inside he goes to turn 3! Oh, lovely move from the Hungarian, and he's up into P9.
Yeah, fantastic move. I didn't see much of it. There's battles going on all over the track. But that's great for Supernek. If I pronounced that name wrong, it's Supernek. Right, okay, I haven't pronounced it before. I should have practiced beforehand. As you look at this, Parker is still having to defend heavily from De Vries while he's right behind Siggy still. So damage might not be too bad on these two cars here after that contact earlier on, a couple of laps ago. But Parker's definitely having to defend much more. He goes to the middle of the track, and there's more contact between the two, again at the same corner.
I must say, since actually getting back past Van der Voort, Geschella as well, all of a sudden he's come alive. He's found pace all of a sudden, and he's catching right up to the back of these top 5 as well.
Yeah, perhaps he's just a bit calmer on his tyres. Perhaps took a time to warm him up in the first few laps. But yeah, he's definitely got the pace at the moment. But look at this for Walk Racing. This is incredible. This really is 1-2 at the moment. This would be a dream result for them.
45 points on the table per race, and at the moment they're looking to actually double. Actually, no, it's not double their score because Capit scored, didn't he? But significantly increase their total. That said, Siggy, Parker, De Vries and Geschella are not too far behind. As I say, there is still plenty of time for these guys to make mistakes, as they have done in race ones before.
Yeah, look at Verjaal's just got past Dewey Tapper into turn 4, down
Here
in
comes the
13th
recovering
place.
Holmes as well, sorry, around the outside of Verjaal. Francis tried this on before, and
All
a
this
little bit of contact between the two.
Holmes is not happy with Verjaal because Verjaal cut him off. It was a really dirty move, terrible driving by Verjaal, but he's having to defend heavily now.
Up the inside of turn 9, there's his ball!
Oh, there's contact!
And that was silly, I'm sorry, from Holmes, he shouldn't have done that.
He was angry,
And
you could tell he was angry.
Gotta keep yourself calm though, and he's just lost a load more positions now, down to P20 is Holmes.
Oh, and his teammate's gone as well. Barkley's gone round. Oh, and there's contact there. It's all very messy in the midfield right now. That's a bad lap there. A few corners for Enterprise GP.
Moving back up to the front though. Let's have a little look at... Oh, hello. I think Parker's actually got a bit of a gap. To De Vries now. He's found some sort of pace as... Oh, look at this. Capit. He's looking a bit susceptible to me. If you got, I mean, he's falling right back into the clutches of Kevin Siggy now.
Yeah, his tyres must have hit the cliff, perhaps. I don't know, because to be fair, he's only lost about 0.3 of a second to his teammate Heasterbeek in the last lap, it looks like. So it's not a huge amount, but Siggy's definitely catching up with him, and he's bringing a whole host of drivers with him too. Even Gegsheller's getting onto the back of this battle as well, so we could have a battle between 2nd, 6th place soon, which would be absolutely fantastic.
Are there any other close battles? Actually, let's go back to the Battle for 10 show. We were talking about Dennis Jordan and his lack of a top 10 to date. I feel this might not be his day, because right on the back of him now comes Pedro Milim, who we know has the piece of the top 4. And look, he's all over the back of the German now.
Yeah, he didn't have the best start, so I think there's a bit of contact in the midfield for him, and then he kind of hung around 12th place for a while. But now he is starting to make his move, and he's definitely looking comfortable on these tyres currently. They're not wearing out for him too much. He's looking all over the back of Jordan. Let's see if he's got any good straight line speed now. Down the main straight, across the start-finish line.
Looking good for him.
And yeah, he's got, look at that, what a draft that he's got. He's going to stick to his racing line as Jordan goes defensive. I don't think he's got much of a reply because look at this. Mellin round the outside, all his contact, and he's just held it on the track and got the position. Well held.
Nice move from Mellin, nice and tight. Jordan will no doubt look to try and get Mellin back though into turn 4. He's got a bit of a run, but he decides to keep out of that, and perhaps another time Jordan can look for a top 10, maybe even later this race, but I feel he's a couple of retirements ahead of him for that to happen. We're on lap 13 of 38 here, and I must say tyres have held on a little bit better than expected. But surely we're going to be expecting some pitters now as I look back to this battle for P2. All very, very close with Capit, Siggy, Parker, De Vries and Gashella all within line of sight.
Yeah, this is really fantastic. I don't want anyone to pit really because we're having such close battles. It may not be getting all the overtaken in the top half of the field, but it certainly is close battles between 2nd to 6th as it looks like De Vries has actually dropped back from Parker a little bit, and Gagshela's going to pit, so he's going to be the first one to come in. I'm kind of surprised about that, but maybe he thinks he can get the undercut on these guys now.
Potentially. Also, Van der Voort and Francic in, so quite a few pitters here on lap 14 of 38 as we see others going round. Who else is pitted, I wonder? Who is that going in? Typical, you can't see them when they come out, can they? Either way, let's have a look at when these guys come out. So Gashella, where does he come back out? He comes back out into P15, so Jonathan Holmes is ahead of him. Nico Barclay behind him in a Twitch Enterprise GP sandwich. Tom Van der Voort comes back out in P19. He's behind Balint Hammer, ahead of Sandy Choda, who remember, Hammer and Choda are actually on the prime compound strategy, so they're going to be going for a bit longer than expected. So Van der Voort not really in the best position there, if you ask me. Francic out behind Choda as well, so he's come out in an even worse position. And I believe Tapper was the other guy to pit as well. He's come out into P22. But what's interesting me, Sam, is the type of compound that these guys have come out on. Gashella, option compound. Van der Voort, option compound. Francic and Tapper, option compound. They're planning on a 2-stop.
They certainly are. They're going to do, 13 laps? Maybe another 13 laps?
Yeah.
And then do a shorter stint on the prime, so the prime's that much slower that they think that they can't do the full, 24, 25 laps on primes? I guess not.
Yuntin.
I guess, way to go.
Yeah, indeed. Interesting. Who else is in? Very interesting. Yunt. Yeah, Yunt's on the prime as well, sorry. So Yunt is it very early, so surely he must be thinking of 2-stop as well. Going effectively 13, 13, 13.
Yeah, I think he is.
Barkley in as well.
He did the set fastest lap of the race, so the primes weren't going off after this amount of time.
Interesting. Barkley onto the prime tyres.
Oh, look at this. Sorry, Capit has got Siggy all over the back of him. Capit's really fallen back now. Siggy's right on his gearbox, and Siggy's actually dropped back now, so Parker might have a look at Siggy in this battle for second place as we come down the back straight, and Parker's looking around the outside of Siggy. Siggy pushes him out wide and actually loses it, and Parker's looking to third.
That was fair play, I think. Fair play, and a good move from Parker overall to hang it on round there. But yeah, Capit looking very dodgy now, isn't he? Is Rude in? That's the question. Rude continues going round. Interesting. And Capit in. His tyres have completely dropped off. So at least there'll be no miscommunication this time. Capit in. Easterby goes round again. Siggy, though, looking very under pressure now from De Vries. And will De Vries have a look up the inside of turn 1? He gets a nice toe. Will he take a dive? Yes, he will. No, he won't, actually. He pulls back again. Malim goes round again. Zupanek in. Jordan in. Router in as well. So both Smiles in. Skor goes round. Holmes in as well. So it seems that now is the time to pit, if at all.
Yeah, it'd be interesting what they come out on. Are they all coming out on... Some of them are coming out on primes, actually, like Sir Jordan. What's happened to Superneck? What's happened to Superneck?
Oh, was Superneck disconnected, perhaps?
No, he just pulled off at the end of the pit lane.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Oh, yeah, looks like a disconnection. Sorry, is De Vries out? Did someone say?
No, I don't think so.
No, De Vries is definitely not out. He's still running, don't worry. He's fine.
He's,
Very worried.
he's on my screen right now,
Yeah,
going into
I see him
turn
as
10.
well.
Yeah,
Yep, he's fine.
looks like he's okay.
Yeah, nice. Just a shout out to Mr. Ben Hackeson there, who we've got on cameras once again, doing a lovely job as always and trying to spot things. Let's have a look. Is Heasterbeek in? Heasterbeek's in. So our race leader then is in the pits. What about Parker? Parker in. Siggy in. De Vries in. Who's the pitter?
Mellim's coming in as well.
So Ruud Heasterbeek might not even lose the race lead. Verzeil. Verzeil's in.
Heasterbeek's onto the prime, so is De Vries, it looks like. So these guys are surely going for a 2-1 stopper.
Score goes round again. So Score really making these tyres last. So let's see, Heasterbeek out into the lead of this race on the prime. Parker also onto the prime. Score though up into second. Here comes Capit. He's onto the prime. He's into fourth. Van der Voort jumps De Vries, but remember, Van der Voort must pit again. De Vries into 6 on the primes. Francic, you also must pit again into 7th. Hammer, he's been on those tyres since the beginning, so he is 8th. Siggy 9th on the primes. Choda also on the prime compound strategy into 10th. Gashela, who has to pit again, battling with Malim actually, so Malim has made loads of gains from this.
Oh, he's on the inside of Gashela going into turn 1, and wow, Gashela just slid the car around and keeps it around the outside. Good effort.
Parker has jumped Capit, good call. Look how far he's jumped him by as well.
Wow, that's a poor pit stop there for Capit. Yeah.
Capit, yeah.
It's a shame for him because he was going so well. We'll see what he can do now on the prime tyres, but Van der
He's going
Voort
to be under pressure from Van der Voort, look.
Yeah, Van der Voort's coming back, so this is good, strong second half of the race for Van der Voort now.
I was saying, he has to pit again though, that's the one caveat.
No wonder he's going so fast, he's on the faster tyre, isn't he? Yeah. So, well, what will really be interesting now, though, is how can these prime tyres hold out? Can they do the full, effectively, 24 laps that most of these drivers have to do on them now?
Here, indeed. Furthermore, how long was a pit stop? Was it about 20 seconds? As I see Van der Voort dispatches of Capit with relative ease there, as Score finally comes into pit. But Van der Voort up into third, ahead of Capit then. Next on his list is Tom Parker. Francic also passed De Vries. He'll be looking to take Capit down next, and it's crucial for these option runners now to get as much clean air as they can to try and eke out as much time from the guys behind them. We'll say 20 seconds for a pit stop.
I'd say it's a bit more. It's probably about 23, 24 seconds looking at the time loss over 2 laps. That could also factor in cold tyres as well. But yeah, looking at about 24 seconds loss of time.
So these guys are looking at low point scores at the moment, but the thing about the option tyres is they will gain time, so they could score good points. Question is how good though, and whether they might even be in with the chance of reverse grid pole position.
That's a question, because this field really hasn't strung out that much. You look at Roy Verjaal, he's currently 24 seconds behind the leader, and he's down in 15th place. So there's still quite a few cars together. Top 18 are separated by half a second. That's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be at this stage, so that's quite incredible, really.
Remember, we do have the inevitable reports to come in as well, so things might change. Even post-race, you never do know. As I see a change there for P10 as Danny Asbury gets past Pedro Malim, does he? Yes, he does. Asbury on the option tyre, though. So he is one of these guys that has to pit again. Malim on the prime compound. He's going to the end, we believe.
Yeah, he should be. He certainly should be. Still looking at this, Sandeep Choda is going to be very interesting for us because he hasn't actually pitted yet and he's on the prime tyre. So it's going to be...
Oh yeah, where's Hammer? Sorry, because Hammer was on the same strategy. So Hammer's down there in 20th, but he's on the he's on the prime tyre. He pitted, did he? So he's going prime option? Goodness me. Also, I noticed that Adrian McNaughton's out there as well for Storm Racing. But yeah, Choda's a very interesting one, isn't he? Because he's there in 9th. He's quite happily keeping up with Skashela and Siggy as Skashela gets past Siggy, actually. So perhaps the prime tyre going much better for the Romanian than the option. Let's see, Choda, if he pits now, we say 20 to 24 seconds. That'll plop him back into about 18th. He could very well score points in this race, actually.
Yeah, it's hard to really
Oh yeah,
tell.
manual is on option, good call.
It's really hard to tell with Sandeep here because he hasn't had the most consistent of lap times. I can only assume that he's been having a lot of traffic and battling away with a lot of guys, so it's hard to really say what his pace is like, but it looks like it's holding up with how it has been for the majority of the race. So his tyres definitely haven't gone off yet. So if he can run about another 4 or 5 laps, that should be fine for all these one-stoppers to do the same.
P5, and the race is re-overtaken. Risto capping up at P2. Tom van der Voort has just gone past his teammate Tom Parker as he looks to further extend his gap. But look at Ruud Heasterbeek on the prime compound tyre. He currently leads by 5.9 seconds. It looks like it's going to be a dominant victory for the Netherlands driver if things keep going the way they are.
Yeah, certainly. Effectively, the guy he's battling with now is Tom Parker, who's actually coming under fire from David Francic here, who's done an absolutely incredible job. He's doing
it again.
Yeah, he's done an option prime run very early into the pits on the option tyres for his first pit stop, and he has definitely benefited from it, and he's still making up ground as he looks all over the back of Parker. Parker would actually be wise to probably let him go right now because Francic is, yeah, he's going to be much faster than him all the way around this track, as we'll see now into turn 1 what will happen between the two.
Francic looks to the inside. Oh, look at that. Just out of New Holland, you can see just how much more grip Francic has, and he eases past Tom Parker. Perhaps it was Tom Parker lifting off, we don't know. A sensible call from us, we say. And Francic, visually, up into P3.
Yeah, it's really good for Francic, and actually he's going to be battling Tom van der Voort, the other Simcraft racing driver, for position now effectively, because both of them are on the same 2-stop strategy. So this will be a big scout for Francic to get. It'll be great to see him battle over van der Voort. As just looking back now, De Vries is really struggling now. He's about 3 seconds behind Parker, who he was battling with before the pit stops. And he's got Gela on the option tyres all over the back of him, but then you've got Capit and Siggy further down the field as well. As Sandeep just gets a bit loose coming out turn 9.
It's almost like De Vries struggling in comparison to the guys ahead of him, but excelling in comparison to the guys behind. We dismiss Gela because he's an option runner. De Vries should really let him go down the home straight, but he's pulling away from Capit hand over fist.
Capit's still there or thereabouts. I don't know if he's had a bad lap or what, but here we go. Gela now onto the pit straight. He's already looking up the inside of De Vries, such was the grip and traction off the final corner, and he's made the move stick before we even get to turn 1. Easy peasy. Gela can now coast away and go after Parker and the other 2-stop strategy drivers ahead of him.
I notice Malim has lost a place to David Junt now, and Choda has lost a place to Street Fighter. Choda's still going though, on lap 22 of 38. This would be the final lap of the sprint race, and Choda has made it last.
So I think that answers what's going to happen in the sprint race. Everyone's going to go on to primes, and they're going to do one. Well, they're not going to pay at all. They're just going to do that run on those one set of tyres.
Is it though? Choda's fastest lap is a 1:24.7. If we look at Heasterbeek's fastest time in the option, a 1:23.1. So is that just good prime pace from Choda, or?
Well, Choda qualified about 20th, so it wasn't really the best of qualifying sessions for him. What's going on here? Mess has stopped coming onto the approach of turn 10. I think he's just letting everyone through.
Letting people through, yeah. Oof. Doesn't want to be lighting up the tyres though, does he? And actually, that's another fair point. How disappointing has Messa been since the first round in Australia? Because he was lightning in coming from the grid up to 6th in Australia, and he's just been nowhere in the next 2 rounds at Bahrain and here at Catalunya.
Yeah,
as Choda pits. This is crucial. Choda pits on lap 22 of the race. 23 now. He goes onto the options. So he has got to make 16 laps out of the option tyres. Where does he come out though?
Bit slow away from his blocks there. Looked like he struggled a little bit. Yeah, he's going to drop back down to about where he qualified, maybe.
He's going to be
Might
ahead
get
of
past.
Barclay. I think he's going to be in battle with Barclay even.
Yeah, just ahead it looks
Yeah,
like.
ahead
So
of him, yeah.
not bad for Choda. He's made a couple of positions up, and yeah, we'll see how he can go now on the fresh option tyres, where most of the guys in front of him actually are on the primes, so this is actually looking good for him. He could... Oh, look at that! Holmes and Schroer have gone off into turn 4. That's a huge crash for them both, and unfortunately Schroer's lost his front wing.
Let's have a look at that. Oh, yeah, it seems to me Holmes went deep. We've seen this a few times, actually, in Formula Challenge and in Open Series and World Tour Series as well. People lock up, others turn in, contact's inevitable. It's a racing incident, but it means that both of them lose out. And there's been a bit of a horror show for Holmes, unfortunately. Contacted others, both on, of his own accord and from others. And yeah, all the way down in P18 now is Holmes. And under heavy pressure from Hammer, no doubt with massive damage. But we can't really focus on that now because we've got a very interesting battle up where points are being scored to be had. Given that we've got so many different strategies at play here, it really is fascinating. We've got people who have to pit again, we've got people who aren't pitting again. One thing is for certain though, and that is Tom van der Voort is really taking the most out of these tyres. Now only 1.7 behind Easterbeek, but he came in on lap 13 or 14, didn't he? Going to be pitting in the next few laps or so if his strategy is anything to go by.
Yeah, it should be 24, lap 25 that he should come into the pits. I think he has Parker. Oh, he's got Gigshella all over the back of him now because Gigshella's caught up quite rapidly on those option compound tyres. He'll be pitting in fairly soon as well, no doubt. But yeah, look at this by Gigshella all over the back of Parker. And he's literally pushed him into the chicane, having to brake so late. And oh no, that's coming off the track. Yeah. Okay. So onto the back straight, onto the front straight. Sorry. And Gigshell's going to do what he did to De Vries. He's going to move up the inside early on, and surely he's going to clear him. Ah, he does. Look at that. Gigshell's got great speed in a straight line. Good traction as well. Those softer tyres, and that's 4th place for him now at the moment.
Nice move from Gigshella. Sensible from Parker once again. Nice to see the two of them not battling as hard as they were last year in race 2. De Vries though, on the world his own, P6, Cap at P7. Diggy's still hounding the back in P8 though, and there's Danny Asbury in P9 on the option tyre. Remember, he has to pit again, so we're all waiting for this to play out. We're on lap 25 at 38 here. Your retirement so far, Waring Mason, Hermsey, Zupanek, McNaughton and Schroer now, our latest retirement. How is this all going to end though? I think so far it's pretty clear that Easterbeek, unless his tyres fall off the cliff spectacularly and he has to pit again, I think this is going to be a very comfortable victory for him as we round Europe car with him now. We look behind to Tom van der Voort and David Frančić as well. Both who need to pit. Will they come in? Van der Voort is in. And Frančić goes round again. So this is going to be actually very interesting. Let's see first of all where Van der Voort comes out, but also if Frančić can leapfrog Van der Voort. He's leaving it one lap later, but let's see. Van der Voort down to 6th he goes. As other people go past now, remember there will be others pitting ahead of him, such as Asbury, such as Frančić. Van der Voort, as expected, is out onto the prime tyre. He's jumped by Malim, and he's jumped by Jordan. Tapper in though behind him, and he comes out into P12 and very comfortably into P12 as the next man down the road is Marcel Rauter, a further 14 seconds behind.
Yeah, Tom van der Voort has got a bit of work to do now, but I reckon he can probably get Jordan and Malim before the end of this race. I think he might struggle to get the likes of although it's David Yunt. No, David Yunt's started on primes, didn't he? But it's going to be a long way to go on these option tyres for Yunt, so he might have to pit in again, perhaps for another set of options. But I think Van der Voort can definitely get a top 10 before the end of this race. Let's see Frančić now. He's coming through the final few corners into the final sector of this current lap, and we'll see if he actually takes to the pits, because it's going to be a very interesting fight, because Frančić will surely get a bit more time out of these tyres. Oh no, he goes on again. He's gone on again.
And Gigshella goes round again as well. So, where is Van der Voort actually? He seems to be in a nice bit of space, to be honest. Also, shout out to Choda. He's into the points in P15.
He certainly is. He's got...
Oh, and
he's-
Cap has gone off, sorry, as Yunt comes in, sorry for the option tyres. Cappy went off. Where was that? Was that it? Oh yeah, he went off a New Holland, very bizarre incident. So he loses position to Siggy, Asbury, but that's about it. He'll gain that position back from Asbury as the American has to pit. But Siggy provisionally into 4th now, I believe that is.
Yeah, strange incident by Capit there. I don't know... Can't work that out one out. Oh, he just got loose coming around the final corner. Very strange. Snap oversteer effectively. So Capit loses a couple of positions. Danny Asbury's up into 7th, but of course he has to pit again. So that'll shuffle everyone up behind him when he eventually makes his pit stop. And as will when Francic and Gexella come in. And look at this though. He's going to have effectively a 6-second lead over Tom Parker and Sven de Vries once all the pit stops cycle through, and that is pretty dominant for Supercup.
Indeed, and once again brings up the argument, should he even be here? Nevertheless, David Francic comes into the pits, as does Gashella as well. We look to Van der Voort, who, at time of asking, is 22.6 seconds behind. I believe Van der Voort should be able to get out ahead here, as Parker goes through into 2nd. De Vries goes through into 3rd. Siggy will go through into 4th, and Asby going round again on the option tyres, goes through into 5th. Kappa goes through into 6th, Malim up into 7th. Here comes Francic and Gashella, but here comes Van der Voort, and he stays out nice and clear ahead of his rivals. But Francic comes out into 9th, Gashella into 10th. That's still good point scores for them.
Yeah, that certainly didn't work out. Looking at Van der Voort's time, he did a very low 24 on his previous lap. Whilst Francic did 24, and then you can't really tell of his previous lap. So yeah, basically Francic didn't really gain on Van der Voort in those couple of laps that he stayed out. So Van der Voort's back up into 8th. He's about 4 seconds behind Pedro Melim, who's also on the prime compound tyre, so you could definitely catch him before the end of the race, but I think that would be the extent of it, which would be an effective 6th place, considering that Danny Asbury is still yet to pit.
He's the last man, isn't he, to pit onto the prime compound tyres?
Yeah, he pitted on lap 14, so should be in fairly soon. Probably this lap, actually, to make it equal first and 2nd stint. I guess he does. There he goes. He pulls into the pits.
He's being held up by Siggy, so keep an eye on Asbury, see where the American comes out. So Capik goes up into 5th then. Melim, what a great drive from him. From P14, he's back up into P6 now as the Portuguese driver. Here comes Van der Voort. He's up into 7th. And Francic and Gashella come through to make it 8th and 9th. Rauter, another good race from him. Is he going to come out ahead of Asbury? I believe he is.
Yes, he is.
So Rauter, great job from the German there. I thought it was going to be Jordan up there, but no, he's there in P10 now. Asbury safely out into P11. He's ahead of the battling Junt of Verzile, who go into contact in turn 1. Junt stays ahead in P13. Verzile P14. Interesting to note that David jumped onto the option tyres because he started on the primes.
No.
Yes, he did. He started on the primes, don't worry.
Timing's lying to me. He's telling me that he started on the option, so...
It's definitely timing lying because he absolutely started on the prime. I remember it clear as
Okay,
day.
but I think he surely got to pit again, surely, because he pitted very early and it's going to be a long stint to be able to do, I think, about 24 laps.
I think he did prime option, didn't he? He went the opposite way to everyone else.
Oh, he has actually just pitted, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just looked at that. Right, yeah. Okay.
So Choda actually has just gone off the track. He's into P14 now, and the battle for the last point is actually Tapper Jordan, with Nico Barclay in P17 miles behind. I must admit, it's just been one of those days at the office for Twitch Enterprise GP where nothing has gone their way. Both cars not in the points. Same could go for Menno Klon. To puncture early on means that he's well out of the points. Philip Kunn as well, who does so well in race 1, down in P20 in race 2. Sorry?
A battle for 8th at the moment as
Gexella.
I don't know if he's just got around Francic, but he's currently in 8th. Francic is in 9th. No, of course, Francic will be trying to get ahead of Gexella, who, as Francic has just come out the pits. So yes, this could be a great battle between these two drivers. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a podium for Gexeller in race 1, after not the best of starts to this race, but still solid points will be great for him, and great for him in the championship.
Good for anyone, isn't it, when you score points, especially around a tough track like this. Sorry, just having a little chat with people. Nice stuff from Gashella to actually see him back into 8th. And of course, we forget, 6 to 10 reverse grid. Currently that consists of Melim, Vandervoort, Gashella, Frančić, and Router is all collared off into the wall. And that is the PB driver out as well. So both PB drivers out of the race. But I tell you what, Melim, I mean, what a way to come back from a grid penalty. They're in P6, guaranteed a reverse grid position next in race 2. He could be a serious contender for the race win.
Wow, it's a long way to go to say that. We don't know what the reverse grid is going to look like. But yeah, Melin, who basically qualified in 4th, had to start in 14th, and has nearly got back to where he qualified anyway. So he's got the pace, he's got this on merit. He's not here by chance and by DNFs. This has just been a really, really good performance by the Majoric Racing driver, and one that Majoric could be really pleased about, because it's certainly going to bring them a good haul of points into their championship chase at the moment. He has got an 8th place in race 2 in Australia, has Melim, and well, you could say that was not all on merit, because you get a bit of reverse grid, a bit of carnage, but he did a strong showing there as well. He had a strong showing. So another one here today, and Melim is certainly looking like a very good, tidy driver.
Now let's look to P8 once again, where Frančić has actually gotten back past Gashella, and now it's been to turn 7 or 8. Oh yeah, Gashella we went over the anti-cuts to turn 8. Frančić was up the inside like a feisty Rottweiler, and he is now back through into P8, but Gashella right on the back of him once again. It's going to be a good battle to the end between these two, because as I said, both of them are aggressive drivers. It seems that both of them have matured a little bit in the off-season. Frančić not really had the results he's wanted, but he's in a good position for Wouters at the current.
Yeah, it'd be interesting now if Frančić can hold on to this position, because he's got Gexeller all over the back of him. And here comes Gexeller with that straight line speed that he's had all race, and he's just going to switch back in front of David Frančić, going into turn 1, retakes 8th position. But Frančić is surely going to be the quicker of the two on the newer of the two tyres, I believe. He's got slightly newer tyres than Gexeller. But at the moment it's 8th place for Gexeller, 9th for Frančić. And yeah, Router for Smile still holding on in 10th, although he does have David Yunt right behind him.
Again, David Yunt, he's come from nowhere. He was right at the back of the field. And look at that, he is on the option tyre. So it's almost a guarantee that Smiler, yet again, not going to reach the heights of the top 10.
Yeah, it will be disappointing, especially since Jordan's dropped back to 16th, as Yunt's surely going to make a move soon. He's right on the gearbox of Marcel right here, going into turn 10 now, down the back straight. Yunt has a look, brings the car back in, just holds on. He can be patient. He's got quite a few laps to get to do this, although he could potentially catch up the guys in front of him as well, because they're not too far down the road, I don't think. Although that Philip Cullen's still out on the track, still going around. That's incredible.
How?
I thought he lost some wheels.
He's into the pits again. He's now 2 laps down. But fair play to Philip for keeping it going, of course. I don't think he'd gain much position. As here goes David Junt now on the inside of Marcel Router. And that was one of the easiest moves Junt's going to have to make in his entire career, I reckon. He's up into the top 10. And Router, as good as a job that he has done, will have to sit out on being in with a chance of reverse grid pole for another day.
Yeah, I think Waters Automotive can be pleased with this 9-10 that they currently have. Another strong showing by their two drivers, who do seem to be fairly equal when it comes down to the race. They're often close together, battling away, although there's about 8 seconds separating the two currently. But yeah, Smile Power, one day they'll get a top 10, one day.
One day.
They've been there and thereabouts, and they've definitely got the qualifying pace. They just need to kind of convert it into a strong, consistent race performance, which is something that he has pretty much shown in the last couple of races now. He had a few mistakes in Australia. Had one where he went flying in the start of the race 1 in Bahrain, but ever since he took flight, he seems to have really picked up the pace and picked up the consistency, and looking for like a very, very strong driver for this championship.
Absolutely. So, unfortunately, this diverse strategy has left us with hardly any battles to speak of. Fortunately, everyone seemed to have died down. It's that 34-38, though we're nearing the end, we can assure you of that. But who's been the most impressive driver for you in this race 1? I realise we have a few laps left, Sam, but there's been some strong shouts from quite a few drivers.
Yeah, I think if we were talking about drivers of the race so far, of course, Heasterbeek has driven a faultless race.
Led every lap as well.
Every lap?
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no, good call.
He was in third until the old Sven de Vries, Tom Parker contact into turn 10, or coming out of turn 10.
Oh no, Choda! Oh, Choda is spun in the ups. Turn 5? How did that happen? Oh, he just lost it on the braking. Thankfully, he is still in 15th, ahead of Dennis Jordan still. And that's a shame, losing a point there to Dawe Tapper, who I think will be pleased just to score any points at this rate.
Yeah, Street Fighter. They're having a strong showing, but Tapper's certainly fallen back a bit, hasn't he? He did manage to get up into... Actually, he didn't really get up any higher than he has been at the moment. I think he only got into about 12th position once. So not the strongest of races for him today. It's unfortunate, but of course it's still race 2 for him to show what he can do as well. Who knows, he could have had some damage in race 1. Yeah, I'm just looking... One guy that I was going to say, as well as Heasterbeek, for doing well in this race, of course, is Pedro Melin, who's now coming in under increasing pressure from Tom van der Voort, who's making use of these newer tyres that he's got on right now. He's actually got into the 23s. That's actually some pretty impressive pace from Tom on these tyres at the end of this race. Of course, the fuel has gone out of the cars now, so the times will be quicker and the times will drop. Melin might lose this 6th position right here in the final closing stages, which would be a shame, but still a strong result for the Majoric driver.
A good 10 points for them as well. I must say it was a shame that Kirk came into contact with Holmes earlier on in this race, because Kirk was looking for a good points finish as well, wasn't he? But mind you, look at Van der Voort here. I don't think, sorry, just losing my ability to speak there, I don't think my eyes are deceiving me. He is absolutely catching up onto the back of the Portuguese driver here. And the reason why as well is because he has the fresher set. I think Malim, unfortunately, as good as his work has been, looks set to lose out on P6 here.
Yeah, I think so.
And won't that be gutting if P6 is then a reverse grid number?
It wouldn't surprise me. The amount of times that I've seen drivers, including myself, just lose position near the end of the race and then find that the position that they were in ends up being the reverse grid position, but that is life. And at least Melin would actually start race 2 in a better position than he started race 1, which is always good, and it certainly would help him. But yeah, he's going to have to really try and defend here, because Van der Voort is all over the back of him now. He's got a good run coming out of 9 down the back straight. What can Van der Voort do? He's going to look to the inside. He's actually going to take a little bit of a dive, and Melin gives him plenty of room. And yeah, I think Melin wants to finish this race more than anything. Lets Tom Van der Voort effectively through into 6th place. So Van der Voort has recovered from an interesting strategy call.
Strategy call that worked. Same can be said for Kashela and Francic, and Junt indeed. All 3 went on the 2-stop, and all 3 have come out with top 10s. Asbury as well, 3-stop, he's in P12. And look at that, he's catching up onto the back of Router as well. The Router could lose yet more positions.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it, doesn't it?
Oh, Asbury looks absolutely on it. He looks hooked up. Showing some of his superstar quality, brah. And, go to the inside of Router. Router trying to Schumacher him out into the pits, but it's no use. And Das American is through.
Yep, great move into 11th position. Router moves back into 12th, and Asbury, of course, he was another one of the drivers to do a two-stop strategy here today. He's finishing the race off on the prime tyres for the final stint of this run, so he's up into 11th. Actually going to fall just short of a potential reverse grid, because it's 6th to 10th, isn't it, for the reverse grid for race 2? I believe that's correct.
Yeah, 6 to 10.
Yep, I always forget. I can remember the Formula Challenge, but never the Supercup.
This is the only... I'm not actually... I'm not sure about ITC. There were certainly talks about changing the reverse grid for ITC, but until that is announced, this is the only series where it is 6 to 10 for a reverse grid, which is fair enough, I think.
Yep, I don't think we need to start reversing 15 to 20 cars in the Supercup.
Tapper, what's happened to him? He was in 14th and now he's down to 17th.
Don't know. I honestly
Pit
don't
again,
know.
perhaps?
He's had 2 very slow laps, so yeah, it looks like he's actually pitted. Because he's had a 1:39 and a 1:31, which would suggest to me that he's gone into the pits on lap 35 and come out on lap 36. Oh, look at that. Oh, is he lagged off the track?
I think everybody's lagged off the track.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Have we
no.
had a server crash for the first time in Supercup history?
I think we have. I think we're
Super
gone.
League ain't got anything on us. What you can do, we could do better. And on the final lap of the race as well, connection lost.
I've got a picture of Rude Easterbeek following Rude Easterbeek of just a bunch of fans celebrating. So clearly they're happy about that. Well, at the end of the day, we were on the last lap anyway, weren't we? So I think it was all said and done there.
And actually, to be fair, I think don't we go 2 laps back or
of
a lap
course.
back?
Yes.
If there's a server crash, so Darry Tapper might actually get the points in the end. I'm not too sure. But to be fair as well, in Super League, that's fair enough because they only have 1 race. We have another race coming, so I'm not quite sure how we're going to sort this one out. In all fairness, let's have a little look here. Yeah, put a banner up. Put a banner up. We'll have a little chat, shall we?
Yeah, we don't
SC
usually
official.
get these chats, do we? Usually it's all action-packed in Super Cup that we don't have any time to talk casually.
So, Rude Easterbeek wins. Yep, I've just rejoined. Rude Easterbeek wins from Tom Parker from Sven de Vries, I think the podium was. So, another good showing from Easterbeek. His second race win of the year. God, he looks like a force, doesn't he? And he only 1-stopped as well.
Yeah, he got the strategy called perfectly, and really, I actually think it would have been interesting, James, about whether he would have won if Parker and Sven de Vries didn't have that contact in turn 10.
Yeah. That is very interesting, actually. Because I think Parker was only 5 seconds off Easterbeek, wasn't he? I'm not sure whether they lost 5 seconds, but they certainly would have actually been with him, wouldn't they? They would have been able to sort of hook onto the back of him.
Yeah, I think it would have been...
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
The speed, really, to overtake the 2 of them. Whether he would have been able to do it in the pit stops or whether it had to have been done on track is another matter, but it would have been interesting whether that would have actually happened. But you can't take anything away from him, but it certainly would have been interesting to see if he had the outright pace to be able to pass people and hold on to that lead then.
Coda suggests do a 1-lap race. Super pole for the win. Yeah, David Carter, hashtag last lap drama, though we weren't expecting that sort of drama, in all honesty. Nevertheless, God, we don't have much to talk about. Let's go to Facebook and Twitter, shall we? See what people are saying, because they're like, oh, the server's crashed. I think the last time we actually had this is effectively a red flag situation. The last time I believe we had this was back in 2013 Manicore, when the start was just absolutely appalling.
Oh, I've got
I'm
no
not too
idea.
sure.
It's before my time. I'm afraid. I can't recall anything from that long ago.
You weren't here that long ago.
No, I wasn't. That's. I'd have to dive into the archives of Wikipedia, I think, to find something like that out. Tom Vanderbilt's actually not happy about this, really. He's on about that he was. Oh, is he just having? No, he's just having a laugh, isn't he? Of course, what am I on about?
Yeah. I mean, there was, mind you, if it goes 2 laps back, he'll lose that 5th place to Malin, won't he?
I might do. You're actually. I think you might be right because it only just happened, didn't it, the lap before?
What I'm worried about is how none of my drivers.
Sorry, James. I think you cut out there. I didn't catch that.
I was mumbling under my breath. I was saying that the one thing I'm worried about is how none of my drivers have come back yet.
Oh,
And
it's
so I've
been
got
a
to go
very
and sort that out anyway.
yeah, it's been a very uncharacteristic race for Jonathan Holmes.
Well, for Holmes, yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, in Formula Challenge last year, we saw that he had strong race pace, but it was himself who made the mistakes. Here, it just looked like he got angry,
Which
and that makes mistakes happen.
yeah, he does get angry at stuff, but not usually in a racing situation. And it really he's kind of the guy that'll be very reserved in his racing and won't do anything too aggressively. When he's actually doing a serious race, of course. And I think we saw a lot of that in Australia and Bahrain, where he kind of could have gone for a move but thought better of it, and perhaps that's what kept him in on the grid and gave him a decent result. But today it was a completely different character, and yes, he did get some things did happen to him that weren't his fault, and he was cut off by some quite dirty driving, but he also kind of retaliated in anger by driving not to his best, and it cost him in the end. It cost him more than it might have done, and I think he would have been in the points. I don't think he would have got top 10, but he would have been in the points nonetheless. And yeah, everyone has one of those days occasionally, I guess, and we'll see what the likes of him and some other drivers can do in race 2 now when we eventually get undergoing. I think the admins are going to have a bit of work to do, of course, because they need to finalise the results of race 1. To also then be able to set up the grid for race 2 as well, once everyone rejoins the server.
A lot of internal chat here, but if you've got anything that you would like to tell us, please do so through the hashtag GPVWC Supercup, or just mention me, I should say, at Kirky Life, and we'll get your thoughts in at the end of the show. I'm just going to take a little drink, actually. My throat's a bit sore. But we're just actually, to be fair, the reason why we can't really say much is we're awaiting information on what exactly is going to happen. As I say, we've only really had server crashes before on Super League, so it's very difficult to say how this will be sorted in race 2. I mean, we could do a reverse grid and everything, and with race director Chris Williamson, of course, being our lovely lady on the reverse grid number itself. But yeah, I need to double check the rules. If someone could actually tweet in what the rules are, that'd be really helpful. Like, does it go back 1 lap, 2 laps? If you could get that in quickly, that'd be marvellous, because then we can find out whether some drivers are getting cheated or not.
Yeah, that's the question. It's one of those rules that no one really bothers reading, because at the end of the day, you just want to go racing. So I don't think anyone really extensively reads the rule book from first page to last, because it's effectively a PDF document more than anything. At least I think it is. Yes, that's really interesting now to see what happens as some of the drivers get out onto the track to do a bit of practice. Because they haven't had much practice to do, because a lot of them dropped out fairly early on. I think Waring was one of them. He had a huge crash on lap 1.
Here we go. If a session is red flagged, the final results will be calculated using the standings at the end of the lap preceding the red flag. of which I can't remember that many overtakes in the lap up to the red flag.
Yeah, I think
So I
it's
think we should be relatively similar.
it's mainly just a case of Van der Voort, Mellin, but I think that was done 2 laps before the
That
red
was 2
flag.
laps, yeah. So I think
Yeah.
Van der Voort's got that.
So effectively, what we saw at the end is what we should get, and yeah, that gives us a potential of, I think it's Van der Voort, Mellin, and 3 other drivers I have completely forgotten. It really doesn't help when you
No.
don't manage to get a print screen of the results to look at.
Hold on. Live races. Should we be cheeky here? Has it recorded the results? Hold on. Let me go and try and find this. Yes! Okay. Final results, I believe, because I don't remember the overtakes on that final lap of the race from the start. Easterbeek wins from Parker from De Vries, Siggy 4th, Cabot 5th, and then the reverse grid guys are, or the reverse grid candidates, I should believe, or say, what is my words going? What is my words going? Wow.
Does that even make sense?
I don't make sense, just my life in general. Van der Voort 6th, Malim 7th, Geschella 8th, Frančić 9th, and Junt 10th. So if it's a top 10 reverse grid, Wouters Automotive are going to be very happy. Asbury 11th, Router 12th, Verzile 13th, Jordan 14th, and Choda did score 15th, with the retirements being Cullen did retire on lap 35 eventually. Hammer, Schur, Messer, McNaughton, Zupanek, Hermsey, Waring, and Mason.
It's disappointing. I'm just looking through, trying to work out who we don't have for race 2 at the moment, because us 3 are here, me, you, and Ben. That means we've only got 28 cars. So I'm thinking, has Zupanek not come back? I don't think he has he?
No.
I can't.
But to be fair as well, Zupanek's he pulled off to the side, didn't he?
Yeah,
So
when he finished his pit stop, he just came to the end of the pit lane where the safety car usually sits and just stopped, came to a stop.
Yeah, that could be a personal issue, like an actual injury to himself, or it might have been his connection going wrong.
Yeah, because he was in a good position, so there was no reason to leave because of a bad race. So I can only assume that something external in real life, not in the game, meant that he had to pull out of the race, and potentially looks like he won't be rejoining for race 2 either, which is a shame because he was having such a
good as well. Yeah,
he was, absolutely.
So we're just fast forwarding through to warm up. I'm not sure what's going on with the reverse grid now because I've been asked for the reverse grid number. I thought Chris was doing it. So yeah, as I say, sorry if we've got nothing to talk about, guys, but we are waiting information on pretty much everything. So we shall wait and see. Thank you very much to Florian Gaia, by the way, who's been tweeting in with some thoughts and everything. There's Gischella's qualifying lap was very impressive, 0.3 faster than last year as well, which is actually very important to say because the Formula Challenge pole time this year was actually slower than Burlack was last year. The reverse grid number is number 7, and so that means that Pedro Melim starts on pole position from Tom van der Voort. So he does get it in the end.
I am so pleased about that because it would have been a real shame if it was 6. So that's great to see for Melim. Unlucky for Waters Automotive. Sorry, we won't get to see the 2 Waters cars on the front row of the grid, which would have also been nice to see. But yeah, look at that. Melim on pole. That is absolutely fantastic.
Interesting to see whether with that true pace, if he can actually go on to win. Because remember, strategy was interesting in race 1. But think about race 2 now. Race 2 is 22 laps. And it seems to me that Paul can make it to the end on the prime tyres, but surely there are other. I mean, there's going to be option prime, option for some people.
Yeah, I'm just looking now in this warm-up. I know it doesn't really mean anything, but there are a few guys that have gone out there, including Mellon himself, on the option compound tyre. And are they just going out for a bit of fun and gonna go and do some qualifying laps for no reason because they don't want to show what their hand is for race 2? I don't know, but I can't see an option strategy working. And I'll tell you why. It's because the option tyre probably on average over the length of the race will be quicker by about a second per lap. But considering the number of laps in the race to really make it work and for a pit stop to work, I think you'd really have to go a bit quicker than that, because let's face it, you're not going to come out the pits and have clear air. You're going to have to overtake people as well, and this is not a good track for overtaking. We did see overtakes, but it's not easy. You can't just stick it up the inside every corner unless you want to, cause carnage. So I can't see it as a one-stop strategy working at all in this race, and I think it'd be wise for anyone who wants to do well in this race to just run on the prime tyres.
Interesting. I would have said the complete opposite. I mean, let's look at it this way. A pit stop is what? 20 seconds or so. 20 to 24 seconds, we'll say.
Yeah.
And the option tyres are about 1 second to 1.5 seconds faster than the prime compound tyres. Though actually, it's very equal if you ask. Pardon me, if you ask me.
Yeah, but you're not factoring any external influences on that, are you? It'd be alright if you started from pole and were on the option and everyone behind you was on the prime and you just ran away, and actually you'd still only be about 13, maybe 15 seconds ahead of everyone by the time you came to your pit stop. So you're still going to have to overtake people anyway, so I can't see it happening, James. I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one.
Agree to disagree. Someone who's not disagreeing though is Matt Richards, who's joined for TSA for race 2.
Oh, nice. So we're up to 29 drivers again. It's like classic Supercup, always 29 drivers, never quite 30. It'll be interesting to see though, will Matt Richards serve his grid penalty now? Or will that just carry over onto the next round?
I believe actually he can serve it. He'd be starting dead last though, but did Mark get a penalty?
Well, you can't really tell if Fuller was given a penalty or not because it didn't change anything, did it? So I guess we'll just find out.
Richards will start last anyway. How should why, if Fuller doesn't get a penalty, then he shouldn't get a penalty awarded.
Yeah, absolutely right. I don't know the rules extensively enough, and of course the admins surely know what they're doing, so they know what they're going to do. But it would be a bit cheeky now, wouldn't it, for Richards to serve his penalty and effectively get off free for the next round when he could be qualifying, say, in the top 20 or something, top 20, top 10, and that would make a real difference if he had to serve his penalty right there.
Yeah, indeed. So, we are going into the session now. Who do you reckon's going to get this race to win?
Oh, that's a hard one because I'm trying to think of the grid. It's Mellin from Van der Voort, from Capit, Siggy, De Vries. No, I've missed someone out.
Park.
Yeah,
that's right. Mellin, Van der Voort, Capit, Siggy, De Vries, Parker, Easterbeek.
That's hard. That's really hard because you know what, actually, I think I'm going to go for Van der Voort here. I know he hasn't had the best of races this season. Things certainly haven't gone his way, especially when he was leading. And he didn't look too comfortable on the option tyres in race 1, but he came alive when he was on the primes. And I think as long as he can keep the tyres together, I think Van der Voort can do it here and win the race. But of course, a lot of it is going to be decided in the first couple of corners, because if you see someone like Parker or Heasterbeek,
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
they'd have to be the favourite. But barring anything crazy, I'm going to go for Van der Voort today.
I am going to go for my boy Lim.
Oh.
I think he has it. I really do. I think he... Ben's going for De Vries.
No chance.
Jones says no chance.
No chance. He hasn't got the wings. He hasn't got the wings.
Look at this. Look at the spread in...
Oh, what?
Look at this.
Most people have gone for options. I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it. I'm going to go for De Vries now. I think De Vries is going to win the race. He's the first guy on primes, and if he gets a good start, he'll win it.
Still going
I think he'll win it.
You are sticking by your prime theory. Let's go through the grid, and then we'll discuss this after. So it's Malim from Van der Voort, Capit, Stiggy. They are all on the option tyres. De Vries on the prime compound. Parker on option. Heasterbeek also on prime. Then Skashela, Francic, Jans, Asbury and Router all on options. Verzile on prime. Jordan on option. Choder on prime. We know he can make it to the end. Holmes and Tapper on option. Barkley on prime. Clont on prime. Fuller on option. Cullen on prime. Hammer on option. Mesa on prime. Score on prime. McNaughton on prime. Then Hermsey and Mason on option, Waring on prime, and Richards rounding out our fields with 29 drivers also on option. So a real spread throughout the fields. Again, very similar to last year. And
I can't believe this.
It's very interesting. Love this race for the strategy calls it brings up. And Portimao is set to be exactly the same. So, well, I think Melim's going to do this, you know. Melim was top 4 on qualifying pace. He was faster than Van der Voort. Van der Voort's tyres fell off the cliff massively in race 1. We know this. Melim has just got better tyre wear. I think he's going to do this. I think De Vries is going to get held up in some way, or his pace isn't going to be enough, and I'm going to say Melim's going to win.
Right, so we've only got 22 laps, so it's actually a bit less than I thought.
Yeah.
I can't see anyone going to the end on option tyres. It's not going to happen.
Option runners are going to have to pit again for option. And I think it is going to be very much option. No one's going to be going option prime unless their tyre wear is horrendously bad. But Van der Voort made it to lap 13, didn't he? So theoretically, he can do that.
Yeah. And even look, teammates aren't even agreeing with each other, which is crazy. I can't believe this. Look, you got like, what have we got? Walk Racing not agreeing. We've got Twitch. We've got EB. Yeah, loads of guys. Oh, it's going to be mental. I can't wait for this now.
Well, none of us can either. Right, we're on board. And we're about to go now. We've got 3, 4 and 5 lights. And here for the second time today, we're off and racing. And Malim's got a good start. Van der Voort, though, he had a slightly better start. He hucks in behind Malim as we head down to the sweeping turn 1. Capit's had a good start as well. Will Van der Voort go for the lead? He dives for it, but Malim holds on around the outside and leads this race from Van der Voort. Capit, great start. He's into 3rd. De Vries as well, good start. He's up into 4th. Where are the other prime runners? He's to be down to 8th, and he's getting swallowed by the 2 Welters of Francic and Jan. In fact, he is now down to 10th because of that as well. Oh, slight contact with Francic as everyone files through nicely. Malim, though, under heavy pressure from Van der Voort in the early parts of this race. But that said, it is not the first part of this race that we're interested in. As I see Siggy trying to overtake De Vries now into turn 7, and he gets through nice and easily. So De Vries now down to 6. He's got Gashela behind him as we head around turn 9. Campasa with Malim, Van der Voort and Capit, your top 3. As I say, it's later into this race which will be most interesting. Heading into turn 10 now, a lot of bunching up here as Balint Hammer becomes our first retirement of race 2. That's 2 retirements in 2 evenings now, unfortunately, for the Hungarian as all. Gashela is now up past De Vries as well. As there's a lot of stuff going on in the midfield here. Easterbeek holding up here. Asbury, Router and Holmes, who's made a good start, up into P13 now. Oh, he is really holding them up, isn't he? As everyone's bunching up, trying to get through as best they can. But at the end of lap 1 here, it's Melim from Van der Voort, Appet Parker, Siggy Geschelle, De Vries, Francis, Janssen, Heasterbeek.
Oh, look at this. Here we go. Van der Voort's looking to the outside of Melim, going into turn 1. Can he get the move? This is decisive. Melim just holds on again. It's like lap 1 all over again. And this could be important here, because if Melim can hold up the likes of Van der Voort, then it certainly would help the prime compound runners of De Vries and Heasterbeek. The only two that are up there. Oh, look at this.
Oh, Van der Voort going very wide there.
Yeah.
Completely losing it. Yeah, remember, the gap we want to see in comparison to the prime runners is 20 to 25 seconds more nearing the 25 than the 20. Melim leads now by a good 0.8 of a second from Van der Voort. Capit, though, he's there in third under heavy pressure from Kevin Siggy. These top 5 really starting to pull away from Emmanuel Geschelle there in 6th.
Yeah, Siggy actually had a terrible start, and he's actually really been able to come back after getting off the line very poorly, so that's good for Siggy. As Capit is right there, so it really is a bit of a Simcraft walk race. As something else going back.
Asbury.
Yeah, Asbury's past Heasterbeek, so Heasterbeek's down to 11th. Holmes is right there now in 12th, so a good start for him as well. I think he said that. But yeah, look at this. Wow, Melim's actually pulled a bit of a gap. That's really good effort from Melim going into lap 3 now.
You surprised? And anyway, yeah, lap 3, as you say. The top 4, 5, I think Siggy's fallen off the back of this actually, back into the palms of Geschelle. The two Waters guys as well, having a good job there in P7 and P8. The Vries there now in P9 and starting to fall into the clutches of Danny Asbury, as we see behind Heasterbeek, defence of Holmes and the Router there, both on the options, as is Jordan, as is Tapper there in 5th. And then we go back to a little prime section here. We've got Cullen and Verzal, Matt Richards up into 18th on the option tyres. So we've got Barkley and Menno Clont fighting for P19-20. And there's a lot of prime runners down here who, if they stay within touching distance of the leaders, might yet score points later on in the race. So these battles down here in the prime section are very, very important as well.
Yeah, I think this will be the lap that decides it, you know, what De Vries can do in relatively clean air. In terms of lap time compared to Melim will surely dictate what's going to happen in the rest of the race. Melim's still continuing to pull away just by a little bit. He's definitely holding his own, and Capit is right there with Van der Voort, Parker as well. Siggy's dropped back now, so Gichelle's caught up to Siggy a little bit more. And then we've got a little bit of a gap to Francic and Junts, the two Waters guys, once again together on the track.
Capit Parker. Capit Parker for third here, sorry. Parker going to the outside of the walk driver, and well, I think Simcraft have the hand on walk over the option tyre as Parker goes, he goes very deep actually around the outside. He would have had to move if he'd made the brakes work in time, but Pit survives for another day. Parker stays there in 4th. Siggy, as you say, falling back into the clutches of Geschelle there, and you got the two Waters, and look at Sven De Vries there, still defending off Asbury, and I tell you what, Asbury, by not taking his chances past De Vries, might lose another position to Jonathan Holmes, who goes into turn 4. Very close, but Holmes takes a position, and now he's going to try and have a go at De Vries.
Yeah, Holmes' worst overtaking spot has now turned into his best, with 2 overtakes in 2 laps around into turn 4. He's actually braking late there, which is good to see. And yeah, De Vries, what's going on? Junt's gone. Where's Junt gone? He's off the track, he lost his front wing.
Yep, I'm going to have a look now. Let's have a little look here. We went straight on at turn 7. There was no making of the corner there. So he is all the way down to P25. He'll make it back to the pits, but it's going to be a struggle for him to score points now, unfortunately.
That is disappointment. So that moves De Vries up into 8th. He was 1.2 seconds slower than Pedro Melim on that last lap. But he's really had to defend quite heavily on this lap now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in terms of his lap time, as he surely had to sacrifice some of it to remain in the position that he's in. Although Holmes is now up the inside of him, already going across the start-finish line.
There's further stuff going. There's stuff going up the front as well. Sorry, turn 1's already seen action. Capit was ahead of Tom Parker, then he wasn't, then he was again. And Geschelle has got past Siggy as Holmes does dispatch De Vries through turn 1 as well. So turn 1 seeing a lot of action there in this lap. 3 overtakes already. As Marcel Router gets past Ruud Heasterbeek there as well into turn 4, the prime compound tyre runners really started to feel it now. And I tell you what my worry about the prime runners is as well. okay, they might get ahead of the option runners once the option runners pit, but those prime tyres do degrade as well, and Choda was the only one to take it to 22 laps in race 1.
Yes, I think you're right. What about the people that pitted
They
early?
only did 13 laps or so on their prime compound runs, didn't they?
The one-stoppers.
Yeah, but the ones started on lap 13.
They did about 20 odd laps.
25?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's still going to be a fall-off, isn't there?
There certainly is, yes. Although as the fuel goes out, it's not really as effective. And I saw a lot of drivers at the end of race 1 setting their personal bests on the prime tyre. Not their overall personal best, but their prime tyre personal best on the option tyre near the end of the race. But yeah, look at this now. Parker and Capit side by side down the main straight.
Parker
going
surely got him now. Yep,
yes,
there he
yes.
is. And look at Gashella now. Capit's really struggling. Here comes Gashella up the inside of turn 3. That'd be bold. Capit just about holds on here. Though he goes very wide. In fact, slightly off the track. Will Gashella look for a dive into turn 4? No, he's going, oh, it was half-hearted, wasn't it? But Capit's really struggling.
Yeah, well, he did on the option tyres in race 1. It was only when he got into the primes that he came alive. Really did cap it. So I guess he felt that the prime, wasn't going to work for him in race 2, and he's gone for the options this time. But it's not helping him either in terms of the guys around him, because he's losing time. He's now got Gugshela and Siggy, and look at this, even Francic is catching up with them. So Francic has done pretty well here. There's a big gap between him and 8th place Jonathan Holmes. Surely the biggest mover of the race so far. Perhaps Matt Richards might actually take that title. Yeah, Capit's struggling. And De Vries, he's still losing 1.2 seconds per lap to Pedro Melim, so it's going to be tight.
It is indeed. Your retirement so far. Hammer and both the STs of Hermsey and Fuller as you head on to lap 7 of 22. This is going to be about halfway through the first option stint for these guys. And Emmanuel Gashella passes Risto Capi with ease. That was much more effective than Tom Parker. But look up at the front here. Melim has started to lose time to Van der Voort, and the Dutchman, he can sniff a victory, and getting ahead of him is crucial, not only for the fate of these guys, but also for the fate of the prime runners, De Vries being the first of them, who is now 10 seconds behind. So first half of the race gone, 10 seconds out of 20 to 25 gone. It is going to be mighty close for the race win. And I tell you what as well, those prime tyres will only get worse as the race goes on. I think so far the tide is in the palms of Melim and Van der Voort.
Yeah, nearly all the option compound runners have got through now. Only really Tapper and Richards have not got past all the prime time runners. That's mainly De Vries, he speak, and then everyone behind them as well. So yeah, it's really looking like options at the moment. But of course, it's only a 1 second lost that last lap between Melim and De Vries. So it'll be interesting to see if that time loss actually gets shorter and shorter.
Yeah, indeed. Yes, so that's a very good point actually brought up by our cameraman Ben Hackeson. The prime runners are now running in completely clean air. So rather than battling around, they're direct competitors in the option runners.
Yeah,
As here comes De Vries and De Vries and Easterbeek. So wow, this is very interesting. Last year, it was Parker and Gashella essentially ruining their own race by battling. Now, could De Vries and Easterbeek be doing the same?
I don't know, but Francis is looking up the inside of Siggy into 5. There's all this side by side. They're still side by side. This is not going to be pretty. Francis pulls out. That's good. That's wise by Francis. He's still battling. Yeah, I know that De Vries and Easterbeek need to battle with each other because they're surely going to make some positions up by the end of this race, but it's not going to help either of them out, as De Vries last time, that last lap, he was actually one of his slower laps, and Pedro Melim actually upped his own pace because of the threat of Tom Van der Voort as well, so the gap differential between the two was even greater. And it's looking good for the option compound drivers at the moment, isn't it? I regretfully say.
I'm pulling a nice smug Jeremy Clarkson smile in respect. fracas has become one of the most used words in British history in recent years, or in recent weeks, and well, there's plenty of fracases going out on track as well, isn't there? Lots of people still vying for position, including Sven de Vries and Ruud Heesterbeek, who are still battling away. Now 13 seconds off the race leaders. They go side by side to turn one, and Heesterbeek here goes through on de Vries. So the battle for 12th and 13th rages on. We're on lap 9 of 22 here. 5 more laps to go until we expect the option runners to pit as de Vries has a little cheeky look back through on Heesterbeek. Doesn't make it stick though. I think Van der Voort has realised what's going on here, because he was right on the back of Malin, wasn't he? And then, unless his tyres have fallen off already, I think he's just thought, well, you know, no point in wasting time here battling with Malin. Might as well get the most out of the tyres that we have, since we do need to stop here.
Yeah, I tell you what, the pace is actually increasing as well. Melin, Parker, Gexella and Capit all doing pretty quick lap times. Van der Voort not quite as quick as Melin on the last lap, but there as well. So the top 5, sorry, really picked up the pace now, and these really are the top 5 drivers in this race currently on the option compound tyres. So yeah, I just when's the drop off going to happen? I guess that's the question.
Lap 13 to 15, I imagine, given that's when people did pit in race 1.
But I wonder whether that was a bit of a safety margin, whether it's not a big drop off. Maybe it's just gradual. And that's a good point. They could do it half and half and make it 11. But the reason, and that was by Ben Hackeson, by the way, the reason why I think that might not be the case is, if you do have tyres good enough to go further into the race, then why would you waste your time in pitting so early on when you could have better tyres for the end of the race, when the prime runners are going to be their most vulnerable? And also you have to look at where you're going to slot back into the field as well, because at the moment, if Melin was to pit, he'd come out with Cullen, Clant and Versailles down in 16th, 17th and 18th. So it's really hard to call this one. I don't know when the best time is going to be to pit. Really going to be a call between when the tyre goes off and when time becomes available to actually pit. I wonder if someone's going to brave it and go for a full race distance on the options. That'd be incredible.
Oh, going to explode across the line. Nevertheless, Malin goes on to lap 11 of 22 here. If
Holmes is in.
Already? Wow.
Yes.
Interesting. Holmes becomes our first option runner to pit. And I do worry about this now, because he has got all of those prime compound runners to dispose of now. Because we were saying, if Malin was to pit, he would go into where Clont was. Now, where has he come out? Rowls are in as well, interestingly. You can see half and half. Holmes down to 21st here. He gets out just ahead of Andrew Waring in 21st. Rowler not so lucky. He's going to come out behind Waring. Is he just ahead of McNaughton? Yes, he is. So a lot of work for Holmes to do at this early part of the race.
That's interesting. That's very early to come in, especially as guys are still doing very good lap times on these tyres. One man who is
he was
really
in complete there as well, though, Holmes.
Yeah, he was. He absolutely was, and he didn't look like he was dropping off the pace at all. So I don't know what he was doing, but one guy who's definitely still on the pace is Parker. In the last 5 laps, he's done a 23-4, a 3, a 4, a 4, and 4.
Malin in. Both Simcrafts go round. Michelle goes round, as does Capit. Siggy in. So people responding already. Asbury, who is the closest man to Holmes, goes round again. Jordan comes in. And then, of course, we have the prime runners of Heesterbeek and de Vries, who remain 14 seconds off the lead. So it is going to have to be an option overtaking the prime compound runner situation, I feel, to find a race winner from the option crowd.
Yeah, looking at Heesterbeek, he's only losing about 7 tenths to 9 tenths of a second per lap now. So the prime tyres are starting to come in and get quicker and quicker as the fuel drops off as well. And it's going to be, they're not going to be close enough to them if all the option compound runners who are still out, top 6, pit now. But they will have the pace to catch them back up again. So it could be really a battle for the win right in the closing laps of this race. I think that's how it's really going to go.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Malim, who pitted there, is only behind Richards and the two prime runners. Richards, who has to pit again, remember. So I think Malim actually timed this pretty well, considering. We look now to the front, though. Parker goes around again. Van der Voort, who looked drop off massively there, actually. He comes in now. Gashela stays out. Capit stays out. Francic also stays out. We look to Asbury now, running in 6th. The American comes into the pits as well. And then comes Heasterbeek and De Vries, the two prime runners. They will go around again. Matt Richards is next. And Richards comes into the pit as well. Malim now only has Heasterbeek and De Vries ahead of him.
Yep, they certainly do, as De Vries and Heasterbeek now move up into 5th and 6th. Heasterbeek in 5th, De Vries in 6th, Malim in 7th. There's only 4 guys left to pit ahead of them. Yeah, that's a good point. Melim's actually ahead of Van der Voort, isn't he? In quite a margin as well. So Melim's actually extended his gap between Tom and himself. But what will be interesting is when Tom Parker comes in, because Parker was ahead of Van der Voort quite substantially as well. And he just set a 23.0. That's his fastest lap of the race so far in his previous lap. So the tyres aren't going off for him at all at the moment.
Oh, indeed. Very interesting. I'm loving this. And talking of Holmes, by the way, he is now back up into P15 there. Got his teammate Nico Barkley to dispose of, but he is working his way through. It seems to have not worked out too badly for Holmes, as it happens, but he is 30 seconds off the lead. I'm looking to Parker. Parker goes round again. Capit and Francic are in, though. So yes, another 2 coming to the pit. Parker and Gashela, that's really funny. The 2 who were leading this race last year lead once again. They're going the furthest on the options. Here comes Heasterbeek and De Vries. So Heasterbeek is now 16 seconds behind. De Vries 16.8.
Oh,
and
wow.
then Malim is 6 seconds behind them.
Malim could only do a 23.7 on that previous lap, and Tom Parker has done a 23.1. So surely Tom Parker is going to come back out in what would be an effective lead of this race, because I can't see Heasterbeek and De Vries being able to hold off all these option compound runners now, because they're still going to be faster at the end of this race.
Is it me, or is Risto on the option tyre? And is Francic on the option tyre as well?
Yes.
Oh, of course they can. Wait.
It's race 2.
What a dumb. Don't think sometimes. So anyway, that's actually pretty good for them, because Risto's out into P8. Francic out into P9. They've got Philip Cullen in P7 actually, as Parker comes in and Gashela comes in. So we look to Heasterbeek now and to De Vries, who are almost undoubtedly, unless something happens in the next couple of corners, going to take the lead of this race. Gashela temporarily takes the lead as he's ahead in the pits, but here they come now. Heasterbeek rounds the final corner. Tom Parker is released from his pit box as Gashela. There goes Heasterbeek, there goes De Vries, and here comes
Gashela's
Malim
got Parker.
now. Gashela got Parker in the pits. Has he got Malim as well?
Ooh, it's going to be close.
It's going to be close. Malim just stays ahead. But look at that, the gap has come down to 5.3 between Malim and the lead. So Malim, Gashela and Van der Voort and Parker are all within striking distance here of the guys ahead of them. Very interesting here. Very interesting.
That's incredible. You know, I think Parker must have had a slow pit stop or something, because he shouldn't have been passed by Gixella for one thing. And I'm sure he had enough in him to be ahead of Pedro Malim when he came back out of the pits. So I don't know what's happened, whether he just took it cautiously into the pits or maybe had a bit of damage that extended his pit time, I don't know. But that's incredible for Parker. He's got all the work to do again to get past not only his teammate but also get Gela, he's actually passing Van der Voort now. So already Parker back up into 5th place. He's now got 2 more guys on the options to dispatch before eventually all 4 of these guys will catch up with the top 2 of Heasterbeek and De Vries.
For the top, Malim was 5.3 seconds off at the end of lap 14, or sorry, 15 I should say. Lap 16 approaches, and the gap is 4.9, so that is 4/10 per lap. Now,
it's not as much.
not enough, or it might be enough, I don't know. Because remember, the prime compound tyre guys are going to be dropping off eventually. As there's contact going into turn 1 as Capit overtakes Francic. I'm not really too sure what the thing is behind there, but look at Cullen there in P8. It's a great effort from him to be there on the tyre.
Yeah, he's on the prime, so he's going to go to the end on these tyres. He's not out of position at all. And he's really battling away with Capit here. This is fantastic to see. As Capit gets the move done, late braking around the outside, and Francic is going to try and take the position, but no, he has to slot back in behind Cullen. That's Cullen down to 9th. Francic currently in 10th. Capit up to 8th, just behind Siggy now.
4.7 the gaps. We head over the Sector 2 line for Malim, Gashella and Parker, and it seems to me that Tom van der Voort in this second stage has just completely lost all sorts of progress. If anything, yeah, look at Parker right on the back of Gashella now, potentially looking like the fastest here as we head into the final few corners now. Malim rounds New Holland to start what will be lap 17.22. 5 laps to go. 4.5 the gap. That's another 4/10, but that is not enough at current. And here comes Gashella down the inside. Oh, that was far too easy. Gashella, he goes wide though. Over the anti-cut he goes, and he rejoins thankfully where he started. I don't think Parker's going to be too happy. I thought he wanted to capitalise on that. But, these 3 battling is not going to help their cause at all.
Yeah, Melim, it's not looking quick now. I don't know what's happened to him, but he's struggling in the mid-23s on these new tyres, which really shouldn't be happening at all. And Gashella, with all the straight line speed in the world, is having to defend so much from Parker. Oh no! I thought Parker was going to stick up the inside there. That was going to be a plane crash right there, but luckily Parker pulled out of it. And I can't see Melim holding off Parker, because I think Parker's going to get past both of these guys eventually with the way he's going. He's got the speed, he's got the pace. You know, he can do very, very low 23s, possibly a 22, I don't know. But it really will be a case of, can they catch the top 2? At the moment, I think He's to Beat might have it.
Might very well do. It'll be crucial to see how far they're off. Oh, Gashella going very wide off there actually. He might be under pressure from Parker. Malim's got to do more. He's got to do more. 4.3 the gap, that is not enough. Lap 18 of 22, 4 more laps for these guys. He's to Beat might be on for a double win here today. Ben's telling me, don't worry, it'll be fine. He's to Beat won't dominate. Well, you know.
Wait, I wouldn't say he's not dominating.
He's been winning 3 races in a row now, isn't it? Because he won race 2 in Bahrain.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how far ahead you are of the rest of the field. The fact is, you are there in the lead comfortably, and he is there in the lead comfortably.
He is now, certainly. I think De Vries doesn't have an answer for He's to Beat at all. De Vries doesn't. I just don't think De Vries has got the right setup on here today. Once again, I think he just runs a little bit too much downforce, and he just costs him. I don't know if he's not comfortable running lower downforce, I don't know, but it's not helping him. And Siggy actually loses the position to cap it and tries to stick it back up the inside into turn 10, and actually falls back because of it, having to jump over the little sausage that's on the inside, or a little dimple, whatever you want to call it. And Francic is now actually onto the back of Siggy as well.
Little dimple?
Oh, Parker's actually just lost it going out the final corner, got wide over the rumble strip, and actually fallen back into the grasp of his own teammate. So Parker's actually really, I don't know, he's getting frustrated, driving a bit too much, and wow, that could be his chance gone.
Tell you what, Gashella though, that's let him loose, and he's right onto the back of Malim. It's once again the option tyre runners fighting with themselves, which has ruined any chance of them winning the race. Because look, Malim is 3.7 high and it's tantalisingly close, but time runs out so quickly in these races. It really does. Yeah, actually, see, the only move I can see here is Holmes now through on Roy Berzal for turn 12, and I also see, who is it? Oh, Danny Asbury's up into the points there past Nico Barclay. This has very much been a race of strategy, hasn't it? It's been a little bit boring in terms of action on track, not been that much going on. Yeah. I really don't like the Circuit de Catalunya. Have I ever told you that?
I think that's how we started the day today, didn't we?
Yeah.
I must admit, it's not a good track. It's actually a bit of a poor track, to be honest with you. And
Where's Valencia Street Circuit?
Oh, I don't like that either.
No? Oh.
No, terrible track.
Got a bridge though.
Appalling. I don't care if it's got a bridge. Donington used to have a bridge.
No?
That cars went under, not over. But they got rid of that as well, didn't they? But I don't care about a bridge. I just want a good track. And I didn't like Valencia either because it only had one good race, and I think that was only a good race because Vettel looked like he was going to win and then he retired, and then it was like, oh wow, it's all kicking off. That's the only thing I can ever remember of a Valencia race.
What about Maldonado, Hamilton?
Oh, of course, yeah, but that was
great.
in the Pirelli years where their tyres were so crazy that every race was crazy. You could have gone to, I'm trying to think of the worst track in the world, Circuit de Catalunya, and had a good race.
Right, oh yeah, Gisela, yeah, good call. Gisela threw on Milim. Why not? I tell you what. Yeah, they could have De Vries.
They will have De Vries.
There's lap 21 and 22, so 2 laps.
Well,
he's struggling, isn't he?
And watch Gixela's straight line speed now as we come onto the main straight. Gixela's just going to take off like a rocket ship compared to De Vries' wings.
Oh, look at that. Oh, power as he goes past De Vries. Goodness me. Gisela up into second. And I think Malim's not going to have too much trouble either.
Oh, he's going to get his first podium.
He is, yes. First pole, first podium, unless he bins it. Touch wood. Here goes Malim up the inside of De Vries, turn 4. And from pole position to third. I think Majura could be very happy with that result.
Yep, and yeah, that's good. That is definitely good for Malim. I don't think he can complain about that at all. He's been the second best option compound driver here today in the second race, effectively. Gixela's got past him now. Gixela's actually going to get within about 1.5 seconds of Easterbeek by the end of this race, it looks like. So unfortunately, it's not going to be enough for Gixela, but it shows just how close it could have been if this race was a couple of laps longer, perhaps.
Ooh. Was that contact between Parker and De Vries? Of course it was. It's happened far too many times this season. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. I think that was just Parker being dogged again and sticking around the outside. So, final lap. Easterbeek heads onto it now. Gisela has to make up 2.2 seconds to win the race. Malim third, Parker fourth. De Vries was fifth, has just been deposed by Tom van der Voort now. He looks up the inside again, not going to happen. Capelon is in seventh, and hey, look, we've got a battle now between Francis and Siggy, the two worst enemies on track, and Siggy just about holds on around the outside. There's good defence here, and Holmes has just relegated Clont, our third highest prime prime compound runner, sorry, to 11. So Holmes back up into the top 10, Clont 11th, Cullen 12th, Router 13. There's more contact between Siggy and Francic. And hey, look, Gisela 1.8 away.
So it's going to be about 1.5 seconds away, Gisela.
I'm interested to see the split at the final. Is Easterbeek falling off that much, really? Surely it's too far.
He's dropped back into the 124s, but he might just be taking it a little bit easy just to make sure he gets the
1.7, yeah. I think he's got it. I think he has it. He's... One more lap. Maybe 1 or 2 more laps, and it could have been Gisela's first win in Supercup. But it wasn't. It is to be. And Gisela's lost it. Oh! That was close, wasn't it? Either way, he has dominated Spain. He comes home to win his second race of the evening, third in a row, I believe. Melim second. Gisela loses it at the last, but nevertheless, it is his first podium in Supercup. Parker fourth, Van der Voort fifth, De Vries Comes across the line 6th, just ahead of Capit. Siggy 8th, Francis 9th. Holmes comes home 10th, a good recovery drive from the Swiss Enterprise driver. Clont 11th, Cullen 12th, Router 13th, Verzile 14th, and just ahead of Asbury, who comes home 15th. Your retirements, there are a lot less of them in this race, thankfully. Just Hammer, Hermsey, and Fuller, the guys who were out of the race.
Yeah, wow, look at that. Gatwick Shallow just came out that final chicane. I noticed that Melham had caught up with him, and he just lit the rear tyres up, got loose coming out the final little Mickey Mouse chicane, and unfortunately for Gatwick Shallow, went wide. Melham got through, so good result for Melham. Absolutely incredible. Second place for McJoric Racing. So close to a win. I actually don't think Melham would have got Easterbeek with 1 more laps to go. I think Gigshaller could have got him if he kept it on the track. But yeah, look at that. At least Gigshaller got a podium, so you can be happy with that.
I'll say Cullen as well with a good drive, P12. Surely Easterbeek has to be the driver of the day, though. Just dominant. And I don't care what people's theories of dominant are, but he won both races, and yeah, he's just been supreme today. And I believe he might take the championship lead, I'm not too sure. Default. Yeah, Francis and Melham did well as well. Thanks from Ben there. I think Melham certainly, he's really bounced back from a poor Bahrain, with a grid penalty coming into this event as well. Unbelievable. Really good round for him.
It certainly is, yeah. He showed he had the pace in qualifying, and he translated that into the race as well. I was just looking at the championship, trying to work it out. Easterbeek was in 4th position coming into this round. He was 32 points behind Sven de Vries, so don't think he'll take. He won't take first. I think he's got Van der Voort, and of course Muscat wasn't here today, so Easterbeek should move up into 2nd now with that. And that should also move Walk Racing up into at least 3rd position in the Constructors' Championship as well. And it certainly will be bunching up between themselves, Simcraft and Satellite. So we've really got a freeway scrap for the Constructors' Championship so far this year at these early stages.
Tell you what, one of my biggest disappointments was Waring. He looked so good in qualifying, and then no points.
It's kind of the same as in Formula Challenge, of course. He did the test that we had at Jerez before the start of the season, and he looked really strong there as well. Really, really strong. And he's done all right in Formula Challenge. He's not done bad, but not quite as good as people might have thought after that first test. And perhaps a bit the same today. He might not have really had much time in these cars, because these cars are completely different from Formula Challenge. It's a whole nother skill level, really. I actually don't like the Formula Challenge cars, but these cars do take a bit more to be able to drive them, that's for sure.
Right, we will just wait to see whether there's any driver who wants to come in for an interview. But very quickly, next round we head to Portimao, which is a very, very interesting track indeed. Very pleased we're going to it this year. Lots of elevation, lots of tyre wear, and definitely longer straights for you to get some overtaking done on. I'm looking very forward to going there in 2 weeks' time. Do you think we're going to be seeing some good racing there? Because, to be fair, this was a little bit of a procession in race 2.
I wouldn't say it was a complete procession. We still had some great strategy, and that really kept everything interesting for the whole race, really. It was close. I think Easterbeek looked like he was going to take it in the end, but it was a hard one to call, and I was actually doubting my own prime strategy call from the beginning of the race.
2 more laps.
Yeah, certainly 2 more laps. It could have been completely different. But Portimao, it's hard to call Portimao because it's a very kind of Spanishy, Portuguese type of circuit.
It is in Portugal.
Yeah, but I know where Portimao is.
I know what you mean. It's a type of circuit that you see around those areas. Very tight, very twisty.
Yeah. It kind of Like, you kind of feel like they're designed more for touring cars rather than anything else. So I've got no idea about the circuit, to be honest with you. I've never driven it myself. It looks like it might have one or two more. Actually, it's only probably got about 2 overtaking opportunities, realistically, compared to Catalunya, which has, I'd say, 3 realistic overtaking opportunities into turn 1, into turn 4, and into turn 10. So Portimao, it could be good, it could be bad, who knows? I've never driven there, but it will be interesting to see, nonetheless, seeing these cars go around a track like Portimao. So it will certainly be something worth tuning into.
Right, so we do have a couple of interviews here.
Whatever happened with Tom Parker and Sven. So that made the first race a bit easier for me.
3
But the
times
second
in a
race
row
was
now. It's getting a bit easy for you, isn't it?
it was really had to focus to keep enough of the tires left and still do the lap times. It was really difficult. But unfortunately, it just had enough at the end.
But surely now, I mean, as I say, 3rd race win in a row. We look at Supercup last year, and even Sven, who really should have won the championship before he pulled out, didn't have that kind of dominance. Second, first. Yeah, I mean, surely you're on to win this championship now, unless you are terrible at the remaining 15 or so rounds that we have.
Of course, the championship is what I'm going for, but it's definitely not mine just yet. It's going to be a lot of difficult races, and there will be a lot of different winners. I'm sure of that. It will be a different, difficult task to get the championship, of course.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us, Ruud, and good luck in Portimao. And now we head to Pedro Melim, and well, heading into this event, you had a poor round in Bahrain, and to have put a cherry on top of that rather nasty tasting cake, you had a 10th-place grid penalty as well. But what an event you had! A 7th and a 2nd place for you. Launching Missouri Cup, the Teams Championship, you must be feeling, I'm back to the ability that I was in 2013 now.
Yeah, for sure. The second race was the highlight, more or less. 4th in qualifying in the first race also helped, since I had that 10 grid penalty. First race was a bit eventful because my tires in the second stint weren't that good. I made them last, which is made it 7th. Couldn't been 6th, but well. That's racing. But the second race was really good. I hoped to get the first, but well, it was a bit luck to get second even, so I'm happy with that.
Do you feel that you can now make this sort of like the platform which you can launch your proper Supercup drivers charge for? Because hey, we're going to your home track into East Time at Portimao. Surely you're going to be wanting to put on a good show there.
Yeah, of course, country track. I think it's going to be a nice race. It's my first race in there, so we'll see what will happen. But for sure, with this second place, it's going to give me more motivation to work harder, and I believe I can be fighting for the top positions towards the end. But let's see. I'm going to work hard and hope for the best.
Well, I certainly hope that the best does come to you as well, Pedro. Thank you very much for joining us. And thank you for joining us as well, the audience. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast here today, even though it was probably a little bit more muted than our usual show. We got to have a rest sometime. If you're interested in more action at the Circuit Barcelona Catalunya, then make sure to stay tuned tomorrow night for the Spanish Grand Prix, which will hopefully not have a server crash or any logs missing, or we'll just have some good fun there. I think there's going to be a few cars certainly in a better position than they were last time in Bahrain, and then Join us again next Wednesday for the Portuguese Sports Series after what was a bit of a nasty round 1, to be honest. We're hoping to be bouncing back to proper fashion, to proper good fashion in round 2 there. And then, of course, you can join us. Oh, and then there's World GT starting next week as well. We should have figured this out before I gave you the information. 2nd of April is, so we're not sure whether we have a broadcast yet, but World GT returns next Thursday. Do keep an eye out on the forums and indeed Facebook and everything to see whether we will have a broadcast. It will be on Thursday, same time as everything else. And then, of course, the week after that, it's the Portuguese Career Ladder Week. We have Open Series and Formula Challenge on the Tuesday, and then make sure to join us once again in 2 weeks' time, Wednesday, when we head there with the Supercup. I'd just like to take these final moments to thank my broadcast team, as always, to Ben Hackeson on the cameras, Sam Jones on co-coms. I've been James Kirk, and from all of us here, it's a very warm goodbye.